condition of the sheets and the mattress indicate that someone else was in the bed with Amanda just before she died. That's A.
What's B?
B is I'm supposed to tell you you're breaking in a new partner in on this.
Partner again?
Yeah, some cat he's on loan from dope. Real burnout, on the ragged edge.
Oh, perfect. Gun!
Raj, meet your new partner.
I'm too old for this shit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lethal Geeks podcast, episode 5. Leo Getz, how you doing today?
Good, brother. How you been?
Good.
Pleasure to be back after last episode.
Oh, yeah. You were away.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, guys, Sergeant Murtaugh had some family emergency, so he will not be joining us today. So, but we send him our best, and hopefully it's nothing so too serious, and everything goes well. So we will definitely see him on our next episode. In the meantime, let's see who's in the chat.
Well, we got
Kimberly
Havoc. Yep.
And Het, how you doing? Thank you for
Mama
stopping
Bear's
by.
here.
Too old for this shit. Yes, he's too old for this shit, isn't he? Alrighty. Mama Bear, how are you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Murtaugh and Leo. No, it's Riggs and Leo.
Riggs and Leo tonight.
Riggs and Leo. Yeah, no Murtaugh tonight. No Murtaugh tonight. So, we got a good one today. We got a special guest who unfortunately could not, due to schedule conflicts, could not be live today. So we did pre-record Retro Nerd Girls segment yesterday. However, we did figure out how to make it more interactive, so the chat can also interact while we're watching the video. So we learned from our mistakes. So we won't have that same issue as we did last time.
We also got the audio issues figured out as well, guys. So,
correct. Yeah.
All the audio will be working perfectly live tonight.
Yeah. Can everybody hear us good? Just go to the chat and let us know if you're hearing us nice and clear, please. Futuretron, how you doing, boss? And Havoc. Okay. So just let us in the chat know if we sound good.
Sounds great, Mama Bear.
Thank you, Mama Bear.
Awesome.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So let's get this going. Thank you, Sing Havoc. Appreciate it. All right. So, So again, welcome all to the fans. You all know what we're here to do. You also all know the rules of the platform. Be respectful, no bullying, no nothing. Respect Zack Snyder, respect his work. Criticize his work, of course, but in a professional way, and respect for everybody in the chat, because if not, you're banned. You're banned, yeah. You're
how it works.
Actually, we should refresh what happens when they're banned.
Diplomatic community.
It's just been revoked.
And that's how it's done.
Amen. A freaking men. Alrighty. So, also, guys, for any of you out there, as you all know, we are Zack Snyder fans. We also want to support his charity. So if any of you can chip in, please go to the link intothepeople.com/sellzsjl and buy yourself a nice little t-shirt. You know, every cent that goes into that goes directly to charity. Nothing goes to our pockets. So if you can help save a life, go to the link and do so.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
Next
Who else
up.
we got here? Next up. So before we get started with the with our main guest, I want to take a minute also and remember our late friend Mikey Sutton, who it's been 1 year now. This week was his 1 year anniversary of his passing, and I want to just take a minute and remember him, and just to remind people how big he was in this community. You know how he changed a lot of lives. You know how he gave joy to a lot of people when, quite frankly, we were a little short on hope. Wouldn't you agree, Leo?
Oh, for sure. I never got the opportunity to meet Mikey or work with Mikey, but I did interact with him on social media, and he seemed like a really amazing person, and I really wanted to work with him. But unfortunately, that, it's kind of the way life is, things just don't end up happening the way you want them to be. But we here at the Lethal Geeks, we want to remember him and pay tribute to him. So
Exactly. So definitely we're going to keep remembering him, because again, he brought this community together, and it only takes us a few seconds of our time to, just a quick little shout out to remember the late great Scooper Supreme Mikey Sutton.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you guys ready?
Hang on a sec.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we got an announcement to make. Okay. We are going to be announcing our very first giveaway live tonight at the end of our stream. So if you guys stick around to the very end of the stream, we'll be making the announcement about what the giveaway is and the rules and how it's all going to work. Okay. So make sure you guys stick around to the very end, and we'll be making that announcement live.
Exactly. And also, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. We're on episode 5. We're growing surely but surely, and it's all because of you guys. And we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us every 2 weeks this on Saturdays to just geek out, have a chat, have fun. So we want to try to, make it as interactive and fun as possible for everybody.
And a shout out to everybody who's been sharing and liking everything on social media. You guys are rock stars, and we really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Alrighty.
Geeks unite, oh here we come, nerdy world where we're from. Retro logo leads the way, in the night to yesterday. All the nerds come out to play, she's the light, won't go away.
Hey,
Retro nerd girl.
Hey, hi everybody.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good. I'm really excited about our chat today.
Nice.
All
We
right.
are too. Thank you for
All
coming.
right.
Thank you for giving the time.
Yes, thank
My
you
pleasure.
so much. I don't get a lot of time on Fridays to do stuff like this, and but I had to squeeze this in because, like I said, I've been wanting to talk to you a very long time, especially about the Terminator franchise and stuff like that. So yeah, we are definitely gonna dive into that. We just want to ask you a few questions about your journey, how you got here, where Retro Nerd Girl came from, all that good stuff. So my first question to you is,
so guys, before we continue, just so you know, you guys can interact with us through the chat, ask us questions. We'll stop the video. You want to comment on anything that with me and Charles and Retro are talking about, please feel free. We want you guys to be a part of the conversation, even though unfortunately Retro could not be here live. She is here. So
exactly.
come on, guys. Okay.
when did you first discover your love of cinema?
I would say when I was a kid, and basically it's through my mom taking me to the movies, and just us bonding from that experience. And when the movies came out, you know, we'd see them in the theater, but then she would buy the VHS tapes, and then we'd watch them together, and we'd be like, okay, what do we want to watch this weekend? And we're like, oh, Star Wars again. And then we'll watch Star Wars again. Mostly Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, we watched, you know, we spent a lot of weekends hanging out together watching movies. And I also had sort of like, I was always a night owl. So I would stay up late and watch all of the movies that were playing at night. And they were often like low budget, really fun movies, or some sort of catch like a really good movie. But I fell in love with low budget movies too. And that was also, and old movies, very, very old movies. So that was also something that kind of came about when I was a kid, and I didn't really realize I wanted to do anything with that particular field until later, when I started writing stories. And they're really like, were personal, and they still are, because I haven't done anything with them, but I've always wanted to do a project with them. But I wanted to know what makes a story great. And I went into this kind of journey to look at a lot of different movies, especially sci-fi movies, because that's the genre I was writing in, and just trying to figure out like, okay, why does this movie work so well, and why didn't this movie work so well? So that's kind of the things that I'm exploring too on my channel.
Okay. All
You
right.
dissect a lot of those movies. Basically, you go deep.
Yeah, I really try to see also if there are other like psychological or social reasons why filmmakers did certain things in the movies, and or books that they're from, and just like the influences, also like any subtle character choices, or facial expressions that are like micro expressions, to see kind of what those characters are thinking at that moment, what they must be experiencing, and why, you know, why we love certain characters, why do they touch us more than maybe other characters do. So that was something I was very much interested in exploring. So that was a lot of fun for me. I have been doing it for a while now.
All right, cool. And yeah, that actually leads right into my other question. You obviously you love reviewing old movies from pretty much any era. I've seen Rollerball, you've done everything from that. You've done Terminator, you've done, oh my goodness, a whole lot of them. Would you say now sci-fi is your favorite genre?
Yes,
right?
yes,
Sci-fi is your favorite. Would you have a favorite what is your, like your, I mean, other than the Terminator, what is your oldest, like your oldest sci-fi favorite movie that you can think of?
Metropolis.
Metropolis, the original, right?
Yeah.
When did that one come out? When did that one come out?
I believe it was 1929 or 27. I keep
almost
getting
100 years.
Yes.
What about you, Leo? What is the oldest movie that you have that you've watched?
The oldest movie?
Yeah. And also, same question for the chat. If you're in the chat, let us know what is the oldest movie you guys have watched. It doesn't matter if it's sci-fi, romance, drama, action. Don't matter.
The oldest, I think, I think for me, the oldest I've gone back to is like the Godfather type series, or like Taxi Driver. Or was it Taxi, the one with Robert De Niro? I've seen Raging Bull as well. Gosh.
So you like Robert De Niro?
I'm actually not a big Robert De Niro fan. It's just he seems to be in a lot of those older 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s movies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually a bigger fan of Godfather Part 2 than Godfather Part 1.
Really? That's a first. I've never heard anyone say that before.
I'm actually a bigger Al Pacino fan. That's why I really love Godfather Part 2. But yeah,
Geek Defense, Scarface, 1932. Wow.
Scarface.
That's
Okay,
cool.
the old one. Wow.
The old
I
one.
don't
Yeah.
think I've ever seen that. Maybe I should check that one out.
Mine was King Kong
Like I'm trying
from
to think back. I've
from 1933. The black and white. The
black and white
OG.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that was.
I did take a film studies course way back in the day, and I do remember we watched some really old stuff. It's hard to, and it was only a one-time experience. I only saw it that one time. It was never like I've never had like a repeat
Yeah.
viewing of some of those films, so it's hard. But like we did check out some Chaplin stuff from back in the day.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, Geek Defense, the actually preferred over you prefer the original than the 83 one. Okay, cool. To be honest, and this is ignorance in my part, I didn't even know there was a. I didn't know there was a a 1932.
Oh, you didn't know there was an old Scarface?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know. So that's on me.
I've done some research.
But the
looking
one
up
from Al Pacino,
Yeah.
that's one of my favorites.
I did some
It's in
deep
my, I would
dives
say it's in
in,
my top 20.
I've done some deep dives into like the 80s Scarface, and when I was doing my research on it, that's where I learned that it was an old 1930s
Cool.
version. Yeah, definitely.
I keep getting those two numbers mixed up, but it's just an epic movie. I suppose the very first one was definitely the I believe 1907 movie. It was really short. That was the man on the moon or something. A trip to the moon, and it is really a beautiful little short film. But these movies, they did not have any of the technology we had today, and they were really creating the stuff. They were creating the things that people would use later on to develop special effects until we finally came to the coup de grace of CGI, and we're still kind of in awe of those movies. We're like, that didn't look bad. There were some of them that looked really, really good, and so there might be a way for us to incorporate CGI and practical effects and visual effects to create a story that looks good.
Yeah. All right. Phil?
No, I'm good. What's
Yeah.
my question? I didn't have other questions.
I'll add too that I was also fascinated by how they made the films too, not just the storytelling part, but also the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, which I think is very fascinating.
That's something also that is missing nowadays, like the practical effects, like a puppeteer, stuff like that. Because nowadays we rely too much on technology, and like for instance, Beetlejuice is coming out now. Like they went old school right there, and based on the reviews, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, and I heard that Alien Romulus kind of develops, has a lot of practical stuff in there that people enjoyed in the theater. So, once I haven't been able to see it, but if I, when I do, I definitely want to check that out.
Absolutely. Yes, it was really good. He did some pretty well connected callbacks.
Oh, cool.
He did. It was something else. So, yep. All right. And I wanted also to ask you your love for Zack Snyder. When did he hit your radar? When did he first?
She's blushing. She's blushing.
Well, yeah. I mean, Zack Snyder. I didn't really know about him until people started asking about his work later on, and I was like, oh, so that's the guy who did all those movies I like. And so I think the first one that I had ever seen was the Watchmen movie. Actually the Dawn of the Dead remake he did. I did see that, but zombies is not my genre, so I was like dying when I was watching. I was like, oh, please get me out of this movie, because I don't like zombie movies, but there are a few zombie movies that I could tolerate. And that's just because they creep me out so much. But I did watch. I was on a date actually, and my date took me to see Watchmen, and I was
Nice.
like in love with what I was seeing. It was just fantastic. Everything about that movie was just intoxicating and just incredible. And I don't think I'd seen 300 yet, but I saw 300. I didn't know who the director was. Another like, oh my god, this is incredible. What am I looking at? This is fantastic. And then I think it was the movie. It wasn't Man of Steel, but it was Batman v Superman. That's the one where I finally figured out like who this was, and I was like, oh, that's the guy. Oh, okay. And I didn't like the theatrical very much. It was okay, but I had a lot of problems with it. But when I saw the Ultimate Edition, it all clicked and was in place, and I was like, yeah, this is great. Why didn't they release this? And so I kind of forgot about him for a while until the Justice League movie came out, and there was a lot of hoopla around that. And the main thing, I kind of put everything out of my mind that was going on, except for the Mustache Gate. And I was like, Mustache Gate was like happening. I was like, what's going on with this movie? Then I was like, okay, well, it's a super.
So one of the things that I kind of like enjoyed about this chat with Retro is she's so high spirit, So it was so fun because this is the first time I actually spoke with her, and I just had a lot of fun with her. She does look like someone who's like good spirited, and just is just a natural fan, a geek, just like all of us. It's
For
good
sure.
to have people like that what, we love this shit and we're passionate about this shit. Shout out to you, Retro Nerd Girl. Hopefully next time you can be live with us. But yes, I enjoyed. And dude, man, like it's funny because you mentioned now BVS. So many people love that movie. It's one of their favorites. But one of the things also is some people didn't click the Snyderverse for them yet. It had to. Some of them clicked like watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, or they had to go back and watch Man of Steel, because so many things like the messaging, like every director has their own style. Sometimes you forget like where the clues, where's the puzzle.
No. And I think she seems to have had the same issues with BVS that a lot of the general audience did at that time before we got to see the ultimate cut. I know for sure I did.
Right.
I like, for me, it took me a good 2 viewings to really try and to really get BVS and what was going on. I had to watch it in theaters twice. And then what ended up happening was, like, as soon as I saw it for that second time, I knew right away stuff was cut, stuff was missing. I'm like, this isn't the full story. And then I think it was the weekend after the release of the movie, they ended up releasing that deleted scene online with Steppenwolf at the end of the film. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, there is going to definitely be like a director's cut version of this movie. Like, we were all anticipating it, right? But it's just it's a shame what they did to BVS, the theatrical version, because what ended up happening, in my opinion, is it left a bad taste in a lot of the general audience's mouth because of the way it was cut, because of the way the story was told. Some of the things, like, there were just a lot of questions that were left unanswered and that didn't make a lot of sense. Like, one of the biggest questions for me, for example, after I walked away 2 times watching BVS, the theatrical version, I'm like, why would people think that Superman killed these people in Africa? I think it was Africa, right? Where that all happened at the beginning. because in the theatrical cut you don't see the flamethrowers and what they're doing to the bodies,
Mhm.
right? That
Right.
that is pivotal in understanding why people thought that it was Superman, because they thought like he fried them with his laser vision, right? So when you see in the theatrical version that those people just got gunned down and then all of a sudden Superman's being blamed, like it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. It left a bad taste in my mouth right off the bat, right? Because I'm like that, like it's just, it was a plot hole that didn't need to be there. It was like you guys could have solved that with that extra 20 seconds of footage. You know what I mean? And I think it was like a lot
They
of the
prior,
good
they
audience
they
had that.
they prior like the studio prioritized ticket sales and turnaround. That's what
Yeah.
they wanted.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. You
And
know, and
it's a shame because there was a great story there. When you see the ultimate edition and you see the full vision of that story, in my opinion, it was phenomenal.
I would love if they can release the Ultimate Edition. Just do a theatrical run, a re-release.
Yeah.
You know, like a 10-year anniversary, something like that. I guarantee
definitely.
you said you do that for BVS Ultimate Edition in theaters, like dude, $1 billion.
Oh, for sure.
I guarantee you $1 billion.
I think
Easily.
the fans, I think the Snyder fans especially would go see it over.
Yeah, yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Back weekend.
You know, okay, so if you don't want to, okay, so here's the thing. Like, I just realized something. All right, let me just say this before I forget, okay? And then we'll continue watching retro. Imagine if we did a campaign, which we are now for sell ZSJ to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine later if we were to do a campaign BVS in theaters. Hashtag BVS in theaters.
But
Bottom line is
BVS Ultimate Edition. We'd have to.
Oh yeah,
make
BVS
sure
UD
Ultimate
yeah,
Edition.
BVS. Okay, hold on. Let me write that down before I forget.
BVS UE in theaters. That's what it would have.
BVS UE in
Geek Defense Initiative. You got it there, buddy. Lethal Geeks Pod. Yeah, there we go. That would be dope. I'd love to see that movie Ultimate Edition in theaters. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's been to like, theaters here and there. It's like, yeah, but a lot of people don't have the opportunity to get out to Hollywood or wherever they're doing these crazy, like I live in Canada, right? It's hard for me to get out somewhere like that. But if they were to do a worldwide release, for a month long, I would go completely.
Oh, dude.
I'd go over and over.
They would eat it. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. My bad. I think I have a typo. VS.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, okay. I see what.
Yeah, UD. And
oh, Qatar's here. Hi, Qatar.
hey, Qatar, how you doing?
You got that typo fixed yet?
I did.
All right.
There you go. All right, guys.
There you go.
There's your new hashtag. You guys want to use it? Go right ahead. I don't care. Okay, let's continue.
Superhero movie. I'm sure going to enjoy it. So I actually bought it, which I really wish I could get my money back for that.
Oh
Same.
my goodness! You bought Justice League too?
Yes. I
Oh,
fell
man.
for it.
I bought, but I have the digital. I don't have physical media. I have the digital.
Yes. I have,
And I went to
digital.
and I saw it 4 times in the theater, trying to digest, trying to
Is this really what
figure
I'm looking
out
at? Yeah.
why, where am I? What there's? I knew there was something wrong. That's why I had to watch it many times to find what the f is going on here. This is not,
Yeah.
But that's how much of a fan we are. We are. We buy the physicals.
Yeah.
We pay for the product.
Yeah. I bought the digital, and I saw it, and I was kind of looking at it like, this is a hot mess, but I see some glimmers of greatness in this. I was like, oh, well, we got some awesome little pieces here. And so then I kept seeing it. At the time, I was really, and I still watch these guys. I was watching Robert Meyer Burnett. I was watching John Campea. I was watching Grace Randolph. And every once in a while, somebody would come on and ask them a question. Hey, do you think the Justice League, Zack Snyder has got a copy of it or something? We've heard some news about it, and do you think
You're referring to the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, the Snyder Cut.
Okay.
And so it was like, at the time it wasn't called the Snyder Cut, but it was just like the people were asking about the possibility. And then it became the Snyder Cut. And I was like, okay, as a movie lover, somebody who really values movies, all movies, even movies I don't like, I will fight for a movie I don't like, because movies are what I would call, to borrow a term from Galaxy Quest, historical documents. They really yes, and they are. They are moment snapshots in time in which we are able to capture social climate. We're able to capture fashion, with technology, all sorts of influences.
Part of history movie. Also, like a lot of bio, because we were talking last episode about Ridley Scott because of the alien Romulus, and I like Ridley because he does a lot of biofilms. You got the Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, Black Hawk Down. GI. So those type of subgenre I love. So yeah, that's what you said. It's history.
And they should not be tossed aside or forgotten. Many times they're pieces of art, and not every movie is art, but
historical.
That's very well put. That's actually beautifully said, because I mean, you collect. I find myself looking at my physical media all the time. I just pass by the shelves and I'm just looking at all of this, and I'm just like, one day this may not be here. You know what I mean? When I'm long gone, it may be gone. And I just the fact that you can just say, you know what, we're gonna turn everything digital, we're gonna turn everything into computers. You can turn it's not the same thing. That feeling that you get when you I don't know, I'm 51, so that feeling that I got when we would go to Blockbuster to rent a movie. You get to peruse the shelves, and you get to, you know what I mean? There was real thought and real put into what you wanted to watch, when you wanted to watch it. And now it's just like you get your remote and you just people of this generation, Gen Z, will never understand what it is to go to a Blockbuster video store and just, like you said, just browse and take your time. It wasn't like a quick one. Okay, we're gonna get in quick and grab them. No, go aisle by aisle and think and process. Like, okay, what do I want to watch? It made you make a choice. It made you make a decision about what you really wanted to watch, not just flicking on the TV and seeing what was there. It made you focus on what you wanted. And that time has come and gone.
Well, what I do love is that, then you could also like see something interesting, a weird looking cover of a movie, and
those were the times
you'd go, oh, I don't have time to watch it this week. I'll catch it next week. And it's one of those things, like you were shopping for the weekend, maybe it was the weekend, but you were also like, that movie over there, it's a weird title. I'll never, it's not really my thing. Let me pick it up and see what it's at. And there was a lot of experimenting. And you could discover, like, okay, I was drawn in by the cover, but it is a Canon film, so it's so totally weird.
And that was exactly how I was drawn into physical media. Younger, when I started collecting, VHS, then moving on to DVDs. But I would that's how it started. You know, I would see
Yeah.
something, something that I might not watch. It might be in a genre that I like. Oh, let's see what it's like. Hey, I ended up liking that. Next thing you know, I'm trying to actually find that movie on physical media and add it to my library. So yeah.
Well, I mean, to go back to the the Zack Snyder love, and why I kind of felt like I was hearing a lot of people say, "Hey, I don't think Hollywood doesn't work that way. We're never gonna get that Snyder cut." I was like, "Why not? Why can't we get, with all the technology we have today? Why can't we have that cut? And maybe it's only for a couple of million people. Let us have that, that cool little movie." And so, and I was willing to pay for it. I was willing to put down, a couple of, $20 on it, or maybe more. So they, when it was finally announced that it was a real thing, and that it was actually coming, I was like, "Zach, you did it!" That's how I became like a real fan, was the fact that he did it, and and he was really responsible for pushing this, because he could have been. And we've seen other directors kind of like, "Oh, no, I'll wait. I don't really need to do this." He was really teasing the audience and really saying like, "Hey, yeah, I got a copy of the Snyder Cut," and showing people the cut, and people coming out saying that they'd seen the cut. It was great marketing, and the way he kind of announced it with that Vero. Kind of doing a watch along
with the Man of Steel watch along.
Genius. That was genius.
Yeah.
And I saw that live, and it was incredible.
Oh, you did. You were. Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. When I saw Henry Cavill there, I was like, "What's about to go down?" And because I had been following, at that point, I was following Henry Cavill very closely. To see what was going to happen, because I was like, "Okay, what's going to happen here?" And Henry was really good, like really chill. And then they announced it. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And so many people who were saying, "No way, this is never going to work," they were also very excited. I was very surprised. I was like, "Oh, these people," they literally had to dislodge their foot out of their mouths for saying that. Oh, it will never happen.
A lot of, like, for instance, YouTubers, obviously we know that not all of them, but some of them are on the payroll, so they have to play ball with the studios, so it is what it is, but the ones that are not on the payroll, for us, like, for instance, we were like ecstatic, like happy and ready to go, but I get it, it is what it is, they got to pay bills somehow. So
I think initially, when the news broke, I think everybody it was almost this really incredible outpouring of like love and happiness, and people were just really jubilant, even the naysayers. And so they were like, "Oh yeah, we apologize, we got it wrong," and they it was so much great feeling around Zack Snyder and what he was doing. And then it came out, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I don't know if you experienced this, but at the first day, the system crashed and nobody could get on there.
I didn't experience that. I got on just fine, but I mean, me too. I can tell you this. So I
had problems with the Mandalorian when the Mandalorian came out. I had issues with that, but not with Justice League.
But with Justice League, I did. When I that's my favorite movie. Of any superhero movie, that's my favorite movie. Of all time. I love that movie, and it just spoke to me in ways that I thought that it wouldn't. After I saw the movie, I experienced two emotions, and I think I told Phil this, but I was ecstatic. Obviously, I was happy that I got it, and it was like the best thing that I ever saw. And immediately following that, anger about.
Oh, you weren't alone on that one.
Anger about the fact that they just said, "Okay, fine, here's your one and done." anger at the
Well,
fact
yeah,
that
that
you know,
was
and it was just like,
yeah.
what's going
That
on?
was
And that's what started me. That started my journey. That started my let me find YouTubers who feel the same way as me, who's championing for this movie to continue, for this saga to continue, and that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, I think generally, like the first couple of days when I believe it Susan or there was somebody can't remember her name anymore, but somebody came out and said, "Oh no, we're not gonna continue."
Oh,
And
and Saranoff
yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
sorry,
Saranoff.
I got her name.
and
She
Asparagus, as we used to call her.
Forgettable.
Yikes. And then the people were a little bit there were some people who actually spoke up and said, this is ridiculous. You know, you guys finally released something decent and then you're saying you're not going to get any more. What about Superman?
It didn't make business. It didn't make business sense, but we know why they said they try to shut it off. It was all about ego, and that's what it was. You know, we had this chat last episode. We showed the numbers that when ZSJL released, their stock went through the freaking roof. It was in an all-time high, and when they said no, we're not going to continue.
Yeah,
you know, and that's another thing I also wanted to message. You're a cinema fan also, like my partner in crime here. One thing that is going to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's already happening, they are going to grab Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they're going to do a case study for all future filmmakers.
Oh yes, I hope so.
What to do, what not to do when you do not let the creator finish his story. Regardless if it's DC comics, it doesn't matter. This can be interpreted on any other genre.
Yeah. I mean, there's a clear. I mean, people were doing all sorts of different breakdowns and studies on it, and it was fantastic. I was like loving it because it was like, wow, yeah, and that is exactly how I was feeling when I was watching the movie because it was just so incredible. Everybody, just Cyborg's storyline alone is just incredible.
Epic.
He didn't have a storyline in the theatrical, and he looked like a fool. I mean, he didn't look like he was just a back guy just hanging out with the team. Didn't really look like he belonged there. And so did the Flash. And it was really, really upsetting to see the difference in filmmaking. I'm like, wow, this, not only that, taking someone's idea, someone's passion for the last 2-3 years, their hard work, and then switching it around and reorganizing it, basically rewriting the film in many cases and places, and in order to insert things that were very dumb is the only word I could think of. There were like some things that I was like, wow, this is dumb. And then also to have Cavill reshoot lines and in a scene in which he could easily have had his back to the camera, but they wanted to show his face. They wanted to show this weird smile. They wanted to
humiliate him. That was the whole idea. They wanted to kill the DCEU. And a way to do it is to like make a Superman so hideous that people, us the audience, are going to like despise forever.
Yeah,
it didn't work because the Snyder Cut came out, and long and behold, Zack Snyder brought us a modern era Superman in Henry Cavill.
Yes, he did. I got both steelbook cuts and and the regular 4K cut.
Nice.
So I absolutely love that movie. It's epic. It's epic. So
and what they did with the Flash's story, every time I get to the part at the end where Flash stops everything and I just start crying. I'm like, this is a character that really meant nothing in the story, and he saves everybody. And it just was
Exactly.
like,
That's
wow.
why I'm always that guy is. I mean, he's the MVP. He is what he is, man. And that was just that was his moment. And Zach made sure that every single one of those characters had their moment.
Yeah.
How can
yeah.
you possibly do that in an
wonderful.
hour and a half telling jokes?
Yeah.
How?
It was great. It was great. And, the struggle afterwards was just watching a lot of channels completely turn on the idea of moving on, because and started talking about moving on, like, okay, that's not going to happen anymore, so let's move on. And we're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? We just got the Snyder cut. What are you talking about? Move on. Like, and there were a lot of people that were upset that the fans got what they wanted, and were saying, hey, the fans were toxic because they wanted a cut of the movie, and that the fans didn't deserve that cut of the movie. Which fans are you talking about? Because I'm a fan, but I'm a casual fan. I didn't even tweet once. I deserve that cut of the movie, and everybody else does too.
And even you said it, like, you were willing to pay for it. Like, a lot of us, we were willing to pay for it. If we had to pay, if they would have charged, I don't know, $50 a ticket to go to the theaters, I would have paid it happily.
Yeah.
And to this day, if they have to pay extra, we have to pay a premium to get 2 and 3, I'll pay it happily.
Well, I mean, I do have a digital copy of the movie, which I also think that they flubbed that up too, because I have a digital copy of the movie. I also have a hard copy of the movie.
Okay.
So I've paid. If you add it all up, how much money?
You've added it all up, yeah. And that's without counting all the merch or the comics or the statues or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, just for that movie, I spent quite a bit of money, just so that way I could have that from myself. And I'm sure everyone, in your audience has spent a lot more on a lot more stuff. I'm very casual with my, with my fandoms, but it is very frustrating to know that someone who is a fan can be, in this day and age, considered toxic just by association, just because you hold an idea, and just because you say, hey, I think I have a problem with the thing that you released, and it's like, you're toxic. How dare you? Toxic. So it's like, it's really, it's really counterintuitive, and instead of listening to fans who can actually
not just the fans, your consumers.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, studios are a business. If your audience is telling you, we don't want this, we don't like this, please do it this way or that way, like, if I'm a business, I'm going to listen to feedback, because it's only going to make me more money.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, even like on my channel, when people say things, I listen to them, and and I don't have a multi-million-dollar company, so it'd be really great if they're looking at a lot of these things that you and I consider historical documents as product. And that's,
I like the way you say historical documents. We're gonna start using that.
Just make sure you give me credit.
I will, Retro. I will.
But they're really important, and so, like, when you take these things and you treat them like product, well, you're not going to care about it. Like, what do you do with the product? You sell it, and when it no longer sells, you come up with reasons why it doesn't sell anymore, or you like discard it and say, okay, well, we're going to make it new and improved. It's usually always messed up when you
exactly.
They usually stop using the same formula or change it up somehow, and so there's a lot of issues and problems in Hollywood right now, and that stuff was going on in like 219. It was happening earlier, but we're starting to see even more of it now in a lot of the stuff that we're seeing online, as far as talking about fans and referring to them always as toxic. I'm so tired of that. Yes, you do have some people who take things a little too far.
Yep.
There are some people who can't separate actors from their characters.
The characters.
Yeah, they can't separate studio decisions from like the actual like you don't go to a studio head and threaten their life, like that kind of thing. They've lost the ability to there's always going to be a couple people who do that. A couple people will take it in their own hands to review bomb something. That is not the entire fandom. That's just one or two people, maybe three, maybe 100 out of
There's always gonna be toxic fandoms everywhere,
Everywhere.
Like even up to this day, Kiefer Sutherland still gets tarnished by his character Ace from Stand By Me. Like he would say people don't like me because of Ace. I'm like, what? Like you're just an actor. You played a character. They hate you because of that character. Come on, man.
There's some people who just can't let go of things like that. But it unfortunately, that is a reality for us to face. But again, don't put entire fandoms into that toxic realm, because that makes everybody upset. Because we know, and you know your activities. I know my activities. I know, like, most of the people that are around me don't do the things that they're claiming that fans are doing, and so. And they don't even have time. Most of us have jobs, we have families. Like, we don't have time to go. We don't have the time to do the things that they're saying that we're doing. And so it's just frustrating. I mean, we got definitely Star Wars, Star Trek, anything Disney. It's just like full of this talk about how fans themselves are just toxic. It's not true. And not every fan is toxic. And stop putting all of the fans in one bucket.
Exactly. Hopefully they'll learn their lesson. All right. I want to turn to something positive now. So, Terminator. We are on.
Alrighty. So a lot to talk about here now. Next, what are your thoughts, Rox?
Oh man, Retro hit so many good points there throughout that interview. Let's go back to the beginning. I love how she was talking about the initial reveal of the Snyder cut from Zack Snyder, right? How he did it live on stream with all the fans and all that fan interaction, and how Henry Cavill came in, and it was phenomenal. It was such a joyous thing as a fan to experience. And it reminds me of a time where I thought, like, wow, WB's actually doing this, actually going to do right by the fans by releasing this. And I thought that there was going to be a positive future, like, because at that point, how could you not think like anything but positivity after seeing something like that, right? So then for us to get the Snyder cut and see it and see how phenomenal it was, but to also witness how WB fumbled the ball. Do you remember what happened when it was like, I think a couple days before it was set to actually release? It was Tom and Jerry. It got leaked.
Yeah.
As Tom and Jerry. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Like, how does that happen on your own platform? Explain that one. How does somebody leak something on your own platform? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But then to see that happen, right? And then literally it was like the day after the film was released to have Ann Sarnoff come out and say what she said, and to have Walter Hamada come out, and I think he called it a coup d'etat, right? Or sorry, not a coup d'etat, a cul-de-sac coup d'etat.
Cul-de-sac.
Here, a cul-de-sac. That's it.
Cul-de-sac.
But yeah, for him to call it a cul-de-sac and you know, to just shoot down all this positive energy that was coming to the studio. And it's just like, why would you guys shoot yourselves in the foot like this? Why would you guys sabotage all this? You see the success of it. You see how it literally didn't it crash the servers day one?
It did.
Cul-de-sac. Thank you, Qatar. Jesus, I gotta stop.
Cul-de-sac.
A little too much of this. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm putting it.
Hey, we're guys. The Little Geeks podcast. We're here having fun.
But anyways,
are we having fun? Are you not entertained?
It's entertaining.
Oh shit! I need a.
Where's the drop, Phil?
Where's the drop? Okay.
You missed the mark, brother.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
But yeah, but for us to, you know, to have it be such a positive thing, and then right away for WB to take all that great energy, flush it down the toilet, and like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense on a business level, as you can see with their stock that you guys evaluated last week, right? It was at the peak. It was the highest it had been in years when they had released that cut. And then right afterwards, what happened? Down the drain. Right down the drain. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
They couldn't just leave egos aside. Just, you don't have to be friends. You just have to work together, make money. Period. It's that simple. You do your thing, I do my thing. We all make money at the end of the day. That should have been the fucking conversation. I'm sure. I would even. Don't quote me, but maybe those were probably Zach's words to all these guys behind the scenes.
Yeah, but you
Like,
know what?
Let me do my thing.
The thing is, Phil,
You know?
is how do you remember? Like, I remember there were interviews months after the film had came out where people were asking Zach, "Hey, have you heard from WB? Have they said anything to you?" And he said no, they were silent. It sounds to me like those conversations didn't take place, and if they did, they didn't take place for a long, long time afterwards. You know, it seems WB didn't understand that. What's that old saying? You do what's best for business. Okay,
Right.
They don't understand that concept. They don't understand how to do what's best for business. And unfortunately, that's led them to the situation that they're in right now, where their stock is at an all-time low. There is no hype whatsoever for their new Superman franchise. Like, it's the same accounts that talk about it over and over. I don't think the general audience cares. And it's funny because there's this one account on Twitter I kind of like to troll here and there, but he was saying something along the lines of, I think he was going after The Rock for when The Rock was trying to do his thing with DC. And it's just like, you know, at least The Rock tried. The Rock tried to give the fans what they want, which is more than what WB has been doing for years. So, like I said, the situation is just, it's sad to see. But you know what? That's why for the last few years, we've all been putting our energy into the Netflix campaign and to get it over to there. So we're going to keep doing that, right? So
sell Snyderverse to Netflix.
Exactly. Hashtag sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. You guys know it.
Alrighty. Any comments in the chat?
The Rock tried, even without the China market. And that's the thing, right? People forget, like, The Rock's film did great for just domestic audience. It did great.
I think it at the end, I think it broke even. Right.
Yeah.
I think it just got
And
even.
had it have gotten to China, I guarantee you it would have probably done over 700 million.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. So, but it is what it is.
Oh, well. Alrighty. So we're going now to part 2 of the interview with Retro.
The 40th anniversary of Terminator. My favorite movie of any movie of all time.
Yeah,
Yes.
mine is
Actually,
mine.
Retro, I want to share something with you here. Look what I got. I can't wait to get this. I like when I get this, once it arrives, I'm gonna geek out so much. I got the 40th anniversary of Terminator, all the comic books.
Oh, that's cool.
All bundled up in one big 3-volume collection. Hopefully it comes by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What is that, like $1 million?
No. It's like I got the hard. So you got the paperback. You got the hardcovers and the metal ones. I got the hardcovers. It's like 120 total, but you get all the story. And these books are considered canon. That's the best part. It's considered canon.
Wow. That is
Nice.
This is what because I was telling Charles early backstage is that when you grab a franchise like the Terminator,
yes,
and you take what made that IP so iconic,
yeah,
you blend it with a different story, with different characters, but staying to the roots of what made it what it is, a hit.
Yeah.
Then that IP is immortal forever.
Yeah.
Because it'll keep growing, and other people, younger generations, will appreciate what started with the Terminator 40 years ago, and it might even last another 40 years.
Yes. Yes.
We might. I don't know if we'll still be here, but that's how IPs last.
We'll travel into the future and get there.
Exactly. All right. So
wow, that's so cool.
We are going to dive into this. So, we got 6 Terminator films.
Okay.
James Cameron is currently beating out the papers for a 7th. So, I understand that his focus is not going to be so much on robots, but it's going to be more on the AI aspect of it. What do you think about that? Would you have an opinion about that? Versus, like, so you know how the 6 were heavy on the robots, you know what I mean? Obviously, Skynet was the looming presence behind it all, but he's going to focus more on the AI. What do you think about that?
It's not, you don't know until you see it, because I don't know what he means by that. If he means he's going to concentrate more on Skynet as being, because I've always thought that Skynet was really stupid. The actual AI, for the fact that it keeps on endangering its own existence by going back into the past, logically just doesn't seem like something, if you think about it logically, it just doesn't make sense. But also, there is a piece of me that says, well, when you don't have a story here, but it is also like, it's like a necessary evil for the story, for you to have to go back in time and do that. But do you need to go back in time every time you talk about the Terminator? The Terminator is about the robot, right? But also how the humans are dealing with this robot issue. Are they fighting against it, or are they changing the programming to make them friendly? What's exactly happening? So I don't know. He could go any way that he wants in this. Since he was the creator, I'm sure he's thought about this a lot, and he probably has some ideas that are probably worth considering. Since like, again, he came up with the idea. Let's see what he's going to come up with.
Mhm.
I was hoping that he was going to go more into the war, because that's the part I think that everybody, we kind of did get that in 3 where we got
It was
war.
a miss. It was a
Yeah.
miss
Yeah,
with
I
the
really wanted to
visualization.
like have that war.
Yeah.
And the devastation of the war, I really wanted to feel that more with the people.
Mhm.
What is it like to grow up in a society where you don't know when, if somebody you love is going to die, or if you're going to be maimed somehow, and if you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
how dangerous is this world, um, and really sit with it and talk to us about that kind of life, what psychologically what that profile is, because I thought that Reese was so unique and interesting. He's like, suffering from PTSD, obviously, but he was
Mhm.
also like, there was there was a spark inside of him, a desire to live, even though he had seen so much destruction. So
Yeah.
I want to know more about the people. I guess I'm
Yeah.
saying the
Yeah.
people involved in this weird war that's brutal and awful. But if he has an interesting way of looking at something that maybe we might glean some sort of intellectual, like conversations. We might like spend like 4 hours just talking about the theories behind this one movie. Hey, why not? I like, bring it on. And I think that the Terminator Zero is definitely, it has a lot of stuff you could talk about in that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that subject in a
Yeah.
momentarily, but
I will get in
yes.
there.
Yeah. All right. Here comes my favorite part. Okay. So, just like I said, and I can't remember, I think I was in the chat at the time I was telling you this, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so. I can't remember because it was a long time ago. Anyway, Phil, I'm going to fill you in. But anyway, so we were talking, and I remember telling her that I was on someone else's chat. They were talking about Terminator stuff. And basically it was a video about like the grandfather paradox, bootstrap paradox, all of that weird stuff with time travel and the timelines and all that stuff. And then we started jumping in the comment section, and then we started talking about those ideas and about what you would do with Terminator, with the franchise. And then I remember running it by Retro, and it was so long ago, but I can't even remember. Was it like 6 or 7 months ago? Something like that? It could be longer.
It might be last year. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be longer. So,
Yeah.
and but yeah, my idea was that if I'm gonna remake, like let's just say if I'm gonna reboot the franchise, so I'm not gonna pick up from any specific point after 2, 3, 4 or whatever. So if I'm just gonna reboot them and I want to close that gap, I'm gonna close it with hopefully just 3 movies, because that's how I want to close it off. It just the third movie will depend on a whole bunch of other elements, but basically the first film I would shoot it in that stalker way that we talked about, that you have a prowler after you, you don't know anything about this guy, there's not much that's revealed about him except when he's continuing to take battle damage and you're starting to discover more and more about him. So I would keep that element in there. There's not much that I would change about that part of it. I would make it probably a little bit more darker, but what I would change,
get more darker than the first.
I know, right? How could you get more darker? Right. Now, what I would change, so if it were me, what I would change, so we were going over this before, me and Phil, and he found a video of that deleted scene. So where they had the guys who found the computer chip and all of that stuff that were in the lab after they took Sarah away. So I had this idea where, it would be something like that. So the end credit scene would basically be her. No, she would get her gas, she would drive off, there's a storm coming, all of that would kind of be the same way, but then it would cut to like 6 months later, a year later, and you would see Miles Dyson standing behind, you know, plate glass, and beyond him is a
So, guys, before we move on, I want to show you guys the video that Charles was just talking about, the deleted scene of the Terminator. So I found it here on YouTube, so I'm going to play it for you guys. We're going to share it here. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear.
No audio, dude. Oh,
No audio?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
Oh,
there you go.
All right, here we go.
Oh, still no audio.
No audio?
Nothing.
All right, hold on. Oh,
it's weird.
right.
StreamYard can never just make things easy.
I know, right?
Officer.
There we go.
What's that? Microcomputer chassis. But I never saw stuff like that anywhere. Weird. Jap stuff, maybe. Get it down to R&D first thing Monday morning, huh? Good idea.
Super Trader, 6450 Bellingham Avenue. Code 2 incident 35.
Cyberdyne.
So that was a deleted scene from the first movie, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that was the reference that Charles was mentioning, because and it's funny, dude. Like there's I don't know, there's some that's what I like about these classic movies, these iconic movies, they'll have extra footage that you appreciate it even more now that is vintage. Do you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
What was
guys?
your sorry, real quick? I wanted to
there
know,
we go.
out of all the Terminator movies, what was your favorite of the franchise?
I love the second one.
The second one?
Yeah.
Everybody loves the second one. Okay, so pick one other than the second one. Other than the second one, what's your second?
That would be the first one.
The first one? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I have a little special place for Salvation. I know not a lot of people like Salvation, but I really dug Salvation. And you know, the one Terminator
Shout out
movie
to Cali.
Hey, South Cali guy, how's it going, brother? But the one Terminator movie that kind of started the downfall for me, obviously, I think was Genesis, and it's sad because I think that one had the most potential. I think it really did have the most potential. But the thing is, see, I loved Christian Bale's version of John Connor from Salvation, and I thought it would have been. I thought had they been able to take that version of John Connor and continue the franchise, I thought Christian Bale would have been perfect for being the next lead of the Terminator franchise. And it's just sad that it never ended up happening that way. I don't think Salvation
missed opportunity,
or maybe something.
It's a missed opportunity because even they could have learned. I mean, even though maybe it wasn't perfect, but at least stay the course.
Stay the course. Yeah, I thought he was a great John Connors. I really dug his John Connors, and I thought, and I thought they could have even done a similar story with Genesis, like they had done with Genesis. But had they had his version of John Connors, I think the movie would have gone over much better than it did the way it did.
All right, let's continue with Charles's story.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Oh, it's not even playing, bro. It's frozen.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
4420.
stuck right
All right.
now.
1 second, guys.
Might have to close it down and open it again.
Yeah. All right.
But I'm not seeing any action. Oh, there it goes. I was going to say I'm not seeing any action on the screen.
No. All right. Let me just.
Oh,
All right. Give me 1 second, guys.
little technical issues, guys. We apologize.
Where?
South Cali guy. I love Salvation. Out of all the different films that came after T2, I think it was one of my favorites. It's not the best out of all the films, but I did find myself enjoy it a bit. I agree, dude. I loved it. I thought it was different. It was nice to see the franchise head in a new and different and a refreshing direction. And it's just a shame they never kept on that path, in my opinion. All right, it seems like we got this back.
And they're analyzing it.
Perfect.
We're good? Okay.
Yeah,
So we're gonna start over. So here we go, guys. Apologize for the tech
scanning
issue.
it, and then boom, they like the grandfather paradox bootstrap.
All right, so we're gonna start a little bit earlier again, so you guys can hear Charles's full story. Okay.
War that's brutal and
Remember, was it like 6 or 7 months ago, something like that?
Okay, right here.
It could be longer.
It was maybe last year. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be longer. So,
Yeah.
and but yeah, my idea was that if I'm gonna remake, like let's just say if I'm gonna reboot the franchise, so I'm not gonna pick up from any specific point after 2, 3, 4 or whatever. So if I'm just gonna reboot them and I want to close that gap, I'm gonna close it with hopefully just 3 movies, because that's how I want to close it off. It just the third movie will depend on a whole bunch of other elements, but basically the first film I would shoot it in that stalker way that we talked about, that you have a prowler after you, you don't know anything about this guy, there's not much that's revealed about him except when he's continuing to take battle damage and you're starting to discover more and more about him. So I would keep that element in there. There's not much that I would change about that part of it. I would make it probably a little bit more darker, but what I would change,
get more darker than the first.
I know, right? How could you get more darker? Right. Now, what I would change, so if it were me, what I would change, so we were going over this before, me and Phil, and he found a video of that deleted scene. So where they had the guys who found the computer chip and all of that stuff that were in the lab after they took Sarah away.
Yeah.
So I had this idea where, it would be something like that. So the end credit scene would basically be her. No, she would get her gas. She would drive off. There's a storm coming. All of that would kind of be the same way, but then it would cut to like 6 months later, a year later, and you would see Miles Dyson standing behind plate glass, and beyond him is a what do they call them, a fabrication floor, and you got all these guys in their bunny suits and all that working the tables, and then all you see is pieces of the Terminator splayed out, and they're analyzing it and they're scanning it, and then boom, they cut. That part of the film will automatically lead into part 2. So part 2, so Terminator 2, I would call that one Terminator Apocalypse.
Okay.
I like the name. Yeah, because they're going to lose. That's the whole idea behind this one, is they're going to lose. Ooh. So basically the opening scene, I would spread that out. So it wouldn't be 2029, it would be 2039. So I would make it 2039. So a little bit more time has gone by.
I like that.
Yeah. Skynet has detected across all timelines, across all multiverses, that it failed by sending a Terminator back to 1984. So what it does is it as they're coming in, as the resistance are coming in to take over and shut it down, it sends back a Terminator similar to the one similar to like the T-1000 but only much more advanced. So down to and I'm talking like an atomic level. Everything, they look human all the way through, basically. And they also experience all range of human emotion, even crying. So I would call this the advanced, it would be called an advanced infiltrator. So its job is to mimic human beings down to a T. So Skynet had that one in its pocket, basically. So just in case anything happens and the first one doesn't work, we'll send that one. So Skynet
more advanced than the one that in Terminator Salvation.
Exactly, even more advanced than that one. Even Marcus,
gotcha.
Even more advanced than Marcus.
Yeah,
Gotcha. So and it's a shapeshifter and everything, all the way down to like I said, every human level. So this Terminator's primary job is to go back in time to make sure Miles Dyson completes his job.
Okay.
So what would happen is he would come back. His job is to he's going to kill Sarah Connor, kill John Connor. Sarah is not in a psychiatric institute, but she is seeing a therapist. Per a deal she made when she was led out of there, Cyberdyne came to see her. Now, this is before Miles Dyson even came on the scene. They come to see her and they make her sign an agreement. You either sign this, forget what you saw, we'll give you a little bit of money, and Bob's your uncle. Or we can fabricate some stuff, have you committed, and you'll be in the psychiatric ward. So instead of that, she took the deal. But she uses that as a cover to protect her son, so she can be with her son. In the meanwhile, in the background, she's been training. Nobody knows about this. She's been training herself and she's been training him this whole time. Now, their relationship is still a little bit strained because of his mom and her nightmares and what she's going through and all that stuff. So their relationship is a little bit strained, but they look out for each other. So they live together. They do everything together. They kind of stay off the grid. They don't really mess with computers that much. They use burner phones. And John doesn't necessarily believe that something's going to happen because too much time has gone by. This John is not going to be 12 or 13. This John is going to be like 16 or 17. So this is going to take place a little bit earlier, like 2000 and 2001. So they're looking out for each other. She's having nightmares. She's going through what she's going through. She still, believes that the world's going to end. He's kind of like, it's been a long time and nothing has happened, basically, but he looks out for her. So she's still a waitress. She loves that job. It keeps her comfortable and it keeps her in her element. So she is she keeps that job, and that's what keeps her occupied, basically. They don't really go anywhere or do anything. Well, okay. Their first outing, they go to dinner and a movie together, and they get a visit from the Terminator. So the one that's actually trying to kill them. So this one is, and I had a name for it here. Like I said, it's an advanced infiltration unit. So its primary job is to mimic human beings down to that level to where they can go into anywhere and do anything. It has a contingency plan. It has to kill them to stop them from getting to Miles Dyson. But they're not going to kill Miles Dyson. They're going to go see Miles Dyson to convince him not to do it, to show the evidence of what is going on and what has been happening. In the meantime, south of the border, she has resistance members who do believe in her, that trained her, that are waiting just to say, hey, if anything goes down, we will be here. We are your contingency plan. So they're basically there.
I like that.
And she's in Los Angeles. So something does happen. The Terminator does attack them while they were at the theater. They manage to escape barely. She activates something in the house called Protocol 1. So Protocol 1, they get their go bags, and they're basically going to start heading down south, south of the border. So as they're getting ready to leave, the Terminator shows back up at their house, and it's an all-on firefight. So she's got her house all decked out in ways that, she can escape if she has to pretty fast, her and John and all of that. So they managed to escape. The house is pretty much on fire, but their vehicle is disabled. They can't go anywhere. So while the Terminator's in the house, they're outside trying to run, and their vehicles are all disabled. Okay. So the Terminator starts to come outside of the house while it's burning, and it gets attacked by something else. That is the other Terminator, the one that actually comes to protect them. She sees a familiar face and she's in shock. John can't shake her out of it, but they're going at it, right? He manages to disable that Terminator only for the time being. As he's walking towards her out of the flames, she's in complete PTSD, just a meltdown. So she cocks her weapon, and there she is. She wakes right back up just like that. And the Terminator is just like, we have to hurry. He just raises his hands like this and says, we have to hurry, just like that. So that whole thing, that dynamic between those three will pretty much be exactly the same that Terminator 2 was. The contingency plan for the Terminator that's going to attack them basically is if they get to Miles Dyson and convince Miles Dyson to change his mind about what's happening, they have something in place where they can destroy his research and all of this. The Terminator will then try to kill Miles Dyson and then replace him, as long as he gets rid of John and the other Terminator first. Obviously, he wasn't expecting that other Terminator. He was just expecting to kill John and Sarah. But now he has to kind of roll with that. So yeah. So if he can kill them, Miles Dyson is good. He doesn't have to worry about that. But if they get to him before if they can get to him before he can, then he's got to kill everybody. And he'll take their place and he'll upload what he needs to upload, because according to history, 24 hours after they both arrived is when Miles Dyson is supposed to run his test on military equipment with the AI that he's developed to see if anything would work. They're going to try to stop him from doing that, not by killing him like T2, but by trying to convince him, based off of the evidence that they have, that you are going to end the world if you do this. So that's the primary Terminator's job. The one that's trying to kill him is to stop them from getting to him. If they get to him, he's going to have to replace Miles Dyson. And that's pretty much it. So there's going to be set pieces where there's going to be fighting and all of that stuff goes. Sarah's going to get injured, not fatally, but she is going to get injured. They are going to be able to destroy the Terminator, but not before that Terminator. It's pretty much going offline at this point, but not before they kill the Arnie. He kills the Arnie Terminator. He does kill him before John and Sarah get a chance to do anything really. That Terminator then uploads into the computers and all of that stuff, and then boom, it actually starts the war on its own. That was its contingency plan basically the whole time. If Miles Dyson doesn't continue and do it, I'm going to have to do it. And that's basically why he was there. As soon as he uploads his virus, there's a countdown to his whatever that thing is, his fuel cell. And that's pretty much it. So that explosion, that upload, Sarah and John, they then run to the border. Sarah's injured. They get to the border. They make their escape. And then pretty much maybe an hour or two later after that, that's when the sirens start going off. That's when everything started happening. And then that's when pretty much the world ends. And that's it. Yep. So that's the part 2. And then part 3 is completely future. So that entire thing is going to be set in the future, similar to Salvation. It's going to start off a little bit different, though. So this one is going to be right before they get Reese. So Reese is already captured, basically. He's in an encampment. He's already caught. So John knows he's got to find him. So they plan a mission. Sarah has already passed away. She's so he's basically training soldiers. So it starts off like this. He's basically training. They're planning a mission to go find Kyle. Once they find Kyle, they will then recruit Kyle into the 122nd under General Perry. So General Perry was the then general that was running TechCom at the time, I'm assuming. So just like Kyle said in the first movie. So he said he was working under the 122nd under Perry, I believe it was, right? Something like that. Yeah, the 122nd under Perry. So General Perry was his basically one of his commanding officers. So that whole thing goes down. They plan this mission. They get Kyle out successfully and all that. They start training him. All of this stuff is going down. Then they get intelligence on some device that Skynet has that they've never seen before. So they got this intelligence from human intelligence. So spies and stuff like that, you know, going out, spying on Skynet, coming back and trying to gather as much information as they possibly can. They find something there and they don't quite know what it is. Luckily for them, the Resistance has physicists on board so they can tell them exactly what that thing is. So, so General Perry goes on a mission. This is their first attempt, I should say, to try and go and recover or find out whatever this machine is and shut Skynet down. General Perry dies. Now, John is not on this mission. Okay, this is how he becomes the leader. So John is you know, he's off basically doing his own thing, prepping his own work, whatever he's doing. General Perry's got his men, a contingent of men that went out to actually try and see what this device is and if they could retrieve it or shut it down. And they all get slaughtered. The whole team gets slaughtered. He gets slaughtered. So John becomes a de facto leader. So now he is leading TechCom. So he is the Resistance leader now. So he plans another mission. They still quite don't know exactly what that thing is. So him and maybe a couple other soldiers, they go out, they try to find out exactly what it is. They're successful at what it is. And when they come back to let everybody know exactly what it is, that's when everybody panics, basically letting everyone know in the Resistance that Skynet has a way to send Terminators back through time. So they lead the mission. It's a success, but I would end it, and I was telling Phil this, I would end it in what they called, I would end it in the bootstrap paradox. Basically, it's never ending. It's not going to end. That film, I would end it with them sending Kyle Reese back to 1984, blinding light, done. That's it. And that's how I'll close it off. Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it sounds really good. Lance from the Outcast Creative kind of came up with a very similar thing he read on the channel, where it did close off after 3. Okay. And it was like, instead of the 3 that we got, he just came up with one movie that kind of was like the war, and then that ending with the closing off of that. Yeah, and it's like, that seems like the most logical way to do it, right? Like, you know, instead of we have like so many different like groups of people going in this time machine. Somebody stop the madness.
As long as that movie is 3 to 3.5 hours, perfection.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Charles, like this story, how long did it take you to come up with it?
Well, at the time that I reported it to her, maybe like what, a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have you have a 3-movie idea for a Terminator franchise.
Oh yeah.
I would make it.
Yeah,
I would make it.
Definitely like
with AI now, it's so easy. Look at our shout out to Zod Rider, One Punch Man.
Yeah. Oh yes, impressive.
Yeah. Have you seen any of that, Retro? Yes, his One Punch Dan. Oh my goodness.
Good. Yes.
Yeah. That's gonna be
some of those
characters.
Awesome. I mean, they look real.
And
you know what? In my weirdo brain, when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League, if you could convince me with that, I mean, if you could trick my mind into that and make Justice League 2 and 3, smooth out the AI a little bit, make them a little bit more human. Then if you can fool me like that,
we're getting to that.
Just make them look like Ben Affleck. Just make them look like Gal Gadot. Just make them look like. If you can do that, then okay. But I can't accept anything less than.
We're getting to that point that fans are going to be the ones that if ZSJL 2 and 3 don't have, or the Batfleck movie or any of that, we're going to end up doing it ourselves.
Yeah. We're all going to be able to make our own movies.
Because now the technology we already have the technology to do it. We're just waiting to get fine-tuned a little bit more here and there, because like Zod said, like he can't disclose the programs that he's using because they're in beta. But
Yeah.
what happens when those are out in the market?
Oh, it's gonna be fantastic.
Like you're gonna see so much shit being made by fans.
Yeah.
I would like for real, Charles, put a pin on that because that's a cool story.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah,
and
I want to
and
see it.
yeah, no, dude, because now we're gonna move on to. Do you have any other questions for Retro before we move to our last segment?
Before we go, that was part of
Mm-hmm.
a series that I did, and I had also come up with my own story line for that, which I did not finish yet because but I did talk about it on there where, and this whole thing with AI, we're definitely going to get to the point where everybody's going to have a chance to tell a story, whether it is a Star Wars story or an alien story or a Terminator story or a mixture of your own ideas.
I'm actually
4-year-olds will be able to do that, and you will know what's on their minds.
I'm actually Retro. I'm actually I have a Batflick movie that I'm going to make but not in AI, in 3D animation. It's going to be a mix of 3D animation with comic book. So hopefully by February of next year, God willing, please, that I will get a computer because my computer, my video card died, so I'm using my old laptop. So I'll be able to get that in production. But yeah, when it comes to the AI, it's such a powerful tool that we can use and create, make magic. Magic happen,
as long as you find the right way to use it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never been against AI as a tool. I have been against it in replacing the human element. That's a no-no.
Well, here's the thing. Whatever you ask, as I've been doing some things behind the scenes with AI, especially music. I actually just started a new music channel. And you have to put a lot of yourself into it, and there's some learning on your part, what to ask for, and also experimentation to experiment, and ultimately the ideas are coming from you. They're coming from your imagination, your desires, your wants. They're not just appearing out of nowhere. The computer, all those things that we're seeing on YouTube right now, the little stories like Star Wars imagined as a 50s story. That is somebody putting in the hard work, asking for that. There's prompts that they have to go through. There's manipulations that they have to go through. Sometimes the computer doesn't get it all right, and you have to do some like actual animation. You have to actually do some drawing and things like that to make it look professional. Not all of the things that are ready yet for 100%. One thing that the computer seems to have a problem with is hands. You know how to get it.
Yeah.
And I notice each one makes sure to do, like, they have a mistake or something imperfect, and I guess it's because they're trying to mimic humans. That humans aren't perfect, so they're trying to make everything that they do. There's like one or two mistakes in there, and it's really interesting. Yeah, we're opening up a whole new world of creation now, and it's going to take a lot less time. But here's the other thing: if you would work against it and you're always like, oh no, it's all bad, you're closing off the ability for not only for you to learn about it and how to use it, but also collaborate with people.
Yes,
because there's a huge opportunity to collaborate. I had always written a lot of my own music, written lyrics. I was not a great singer, and was not really great at music, but I heard I could create tones, and so like this using AI has been able, like, I can actually like hear my tones in a song, or I can actually hear my lyrics being sung, and I don't I don't have access to singers, and I don't have access to producers. I used to try to do that they all are very expensive, and sometimes they're scamming you because you're a nobody. Like, who are you? And so I've had a lot of like years of like loving music, wanting to do things with music, not being able to. But with AI, I can suddenly produce, and it's like, wow, you know, what else can this? What else can I do with this? And I'm learning a lot. Learning a lot.
Good. All right. All right. All right. Yeah, but that I just wanted to share that with you. That was my idea.
Awesome,
It was just something, yeah, it was something that I just came, and it was like I said, it was in a chat, and I just banged it out there, and everybody was like, hey,
No,
that's a great idea.
I like the story.
Yeah.
I definitely like
Yeah.
it. So definitely
Really
save
good.
that story, and whenever you have the time and the and you know, access to the right AI software, whatever, just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah,
And-
something to consider for sure.
And
Yeah.
and also, here's the beauty of it, because the Terminator franchise is a multiverse.
Yeah.
There's no, it doesn't interrupt anything that's already been done, and it's
Exactly.
like, and that's the beauty of it, for us to take advantage of. If you know, if you're wanting to create, if you have something like a multiverse, you can always do that. And so, yeah, I can see how the story will definitely work in a multiverse. So
Yeah, it's basically,
definitely-
it's like a flip side of everything that you know that was in, like, you know, the Terminator 2. It was the flip side of that. Their lives weren't great, but they were better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she
Yeah.
wasn't in a psychiatric ward. Yes, she was seeing a therapist. Yes, it was under, you know, threat of, but she still got a chance to she still gets a chance to tell her story, talk about her nightmares, and have someone listen to her. And even if they don't know, you know, even if they don't know what's coming, she can still get it out of the way. You know what I mean? Without fear of being drugged, or fear of being molested, or whatever. So
yeah, kinda get
so
rid of
yeah,
all
so that
that
was yeah, exactly. And that's what I liked about it. Her and John, their relationship is a little bit kind of like in what was it? The TV show, the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Sarah Connor
Kind of
Chronicles.
how their relationship was. It was it would be that way basically.
Yeah.
So
Well, here's some things that I would say for sure I like this is that John Connor is a little older, which gives him a little bit more agency, and he's, you know, I think a lot of the problem that people had with John Connor, not that much. I think T2 is just brilliant, but if there was a problem with it, would be that, you know, the boy was maybe too
he's a
young,
kid.
and
Yep.
then also, and to deal with the stuff that they're the violence and all that stuff, but also having that militia in Mexico. I love that because she's not alone.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted it to be like. She had people, albeit whatever their station is, or whatever their condition is, they believe in her. You know, they believe that something is going to happen, you know, and they talk about, and there's going to be parts in the movie that's or parts in the show that'll be intercut basically. So Cyberdyne will basically be kind of like looming in the background. So when you're looking at TV, when they're at the school, you got posters and you see stuff like on subway trains and stuff like that. Cyberdyne just basically kind of looms in the background as this presence of, come work for Cyberdyne, come join us at Cyberdyne. All of this stuff basically will kind of keeps Sarah kind of like, you know, she sees that, and it foreshadows what is coming. Exactly. That's exactly what the idea is about. Yep. So
I love it. Yeah. Great ideas. That's fantastic.
All righty. So we're going to move into our final topic.
Ooh.
We have another. Okay. So how's everyone going? So what you think about the story?
Dude, I love it. I thought it was phenomenal. And here's the thing, man. Even if Charles isn't able to make it a Terminator story, I think he should totally do what Zach did. You know, like you saw what Zach did with Rebel Moon. He took what he initially thought of as a Star Wars story and created his own thing. You know, if Charles had the opportunity to, and if the story, if he has the story, okay, and if he wants that story told and he can't get it told through, you know, official licensing and whatnot, dude, it's so easy to rework and still tell the same story. So I think Charles should definitely take that route. And there's so many different ways he could tell that story, whether it's through AI, whether Charles wants to do a comic book or some sort of animation, write a graphic novel. You know, there's so many ways he could tell the story. So
what people in the chat, what do you
go
guys
for it.
think? What are you guys' thoughts about Charles's story?
It's a little quiet in there right now.
A little quiet, guys.
It's all good. But yeah, no,
right.
like I said, I thought Charles has the story, and there's so many ways he can go about telling it. And yeah,
There
League
we
of
go.
Instant Havoc. There we go. I say let's go.
There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
all for it.
Dude, like I said, like it's like Retro said herself, it's like it's a multiverse. You know, you can tell how many. Like I'm gonna give you an example right here. Star Wars. You had the Legends part.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And people loved it. Me personally, I wasn't deep into Star Wars. I mean, I loved loved Star Wars. You know, I grew up with the prequels.
Yeah.
You know, I loved, and I actually saw the original ones when they came out in theaters with the special edition.
Oh, okay. How old were you when
remember?
they came out like that? Yeah.
I must have been about 16 or 17 years old when
Okay.
that came out. When 90, I think it was 97.
So did you saw the prequels before you saw the original trilogy?
No,
Did
I
you
saw
see
the original. I saw the original trilogy first.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'd seen the original first, but then yeah, I went to see the prequels.
But don't kid yourself. There is a whole generation that grew up on those prequels.
I am one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them. You know, because
I'm saying is like there's people who saw that first. They didn't even see the original trilogy until after.
Oh, okay.
This was their first
Okay.
introduction to Star Wars. You know,
Yeah,
like there were a
exactly.
lot of kids that fell in love with that from that. You know, and it's a generational thing, right? Like we've talked about it with multiple different franchises. There's so many different generations that have their own love and appreciation for certain eras of certain franchises.
We're definitely gonna talk about a little bit more later down the show. So we're gonna go on our last topic now. We're gonna be reviewing Terminator Zero, spoiler-free review, guys.
Awesome. Let's keep it rolling.
Multiverse Terminator to talk about because we just got Terminator Zero on Netflix.
Yes.
And they fucking nailed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They nailed it. If anybody
I was
is
shocked.
watching
Like I
this,
said, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that
Yes.
I liked it as much as I thought I was going to like, and I'm only halfway, over.
You're
a little
halfway
bit over
through,
halfway
yeah.
through. So yeah, I didn't expect to like it as much as I thought I would. So
Yeah.
now you were talking about your story about paradoxes, this and that, with different multiverses. This is definitely, this is what I love about this, is that they, like I said earlier, they took what made Terminator special.
Yes.
mhm.
They grabbed it, they modernized it with something fresh, unique, and it doesn't break canon.
No.
On the contrary, it's like a side story. It's the story of John Connor and Sarah Connor through canon. Yeah, that goes, but this is not like
Connected.
connected.
It's connected, but
it's
not influencing it.
exactly. It's not influencing. It's a side story basically.
Yes.
It's a side
Mhm.
story that's not breaking canon,
Fully
and it
contained.
blends.
It's another
and it-
part of the world. You're talking
It's
about
another part of the world.
You're talking about you're talking about
They
it's basically
expanded.
perspective, and it's a
They
perspective from
expanded.
exactly. Yeah. That's what makes it great. And I'm surprised that these guys in Hollywood finally they thought about that. But I'm surprised they just come on, guys. It took you this long to figure out that multiverses is a very hot topic, and not just in obviously it's in the movie genre, but you can thank the physicists for that you can have multiverses and you can talk about multiverses the way you do. That's all you got to do. Just you want to tell, if you want to tell a story that's connected to that story, but not rehash it, not beat it down with a lesser story. Tell your own story, just in another universe.
Yeah,
there you go.
This is really cool. The director, I heard some words from the director, Masashi Kudo, who said he was a huge fan. And that's the opposite of what a lot of other franchises are doing. They're like, oh, we want a completely fresh new perspectives. We hope you know nothing about it. And like, come on in and give us some fresh ideas. And this is like, no, I know all the lore about this. And I'm not going to over any of it. I'm actually going to tell a story contained in that lore, but make it fresh, make it new, make it discoverable, make it exciting. It was great.
Yeah.
I was just so.
All they have to, like I said, they have to, in order for it to, like I keep saying, I told this to Charles multiple times, like these studio, they have to hire, instead of hiring whatever kid who went to Harvard Business School or whatever, just because he has the freaking resume. One of the key things is, are you a fan? Maybe not a hardcore fan, but do you at least understand?
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Do you at least understand where the story comes from? Like, do you understand the what's the word I'm looking for?
The history,
you understand
the lore.
Yes, do you understand? Do you understand the culture of it? Like for instance, with comic books, let's say with DC and Marvel. Okay, you maybe not be a DC or Marvel fan, but do you know what they are? Do you know the basics? If they know the basics, okay, then at least I can say, okay, I can hire this guy. I'll give him a chance. He might not be a hardcore guy, but at least he understands the basics of what the audience, like ourselves, who are geeks, who love and eat this day in and day out, are going to love,
Yes.
But when they don't do that, that's when you get flops.
Yeah. It's really sad because I'm a person who likes to see new and different things, but you've got to be able to actually be able to master the lore first, and even if you didn't fully, at least don't give me the impression that you don't know what you're like, even if it's like super high end like work that you're doing. At least don't leave me questioning, okay, why did you do that? Because in lore it's like this. By the end of the series, these guys answered everything, if there were any questions, and there really weren't many questions because they really went off and did their own thing. I won't say any details about the last.
This is spoiler free.
But the last 3 episodes in particular are really special. I was like, my jaw was like, I was like, what? This is fantastic. I may have had one problem. And, until we get to a chance where we can talk about spoilers, I won't do that. But I had one issue with it. But other than that, I would say like this is definitely like, if I could give it a score, it'd be like a 9.6. It's really high up there for me.
Like, me too. I gave it 9 out of 10. Definitely 9 out of 10. Yeah, this show is, they brought everything. They brought they blended like T1 and T2 into this anime show. You get the Terminator that is hunting his target, but not just like not being subtle. He's just being like being it's like a
He does not
slasher
care.
movie. He
Yeah,
didn't
he
give a
does-
fuck. He's like he's
Yeah.
gonna kill you any way he feels is the easiest way. Like either he'll
Yes.
choke you or hit you in the head. Like I said, I love the fact that they not only kept the magic of the first film with Arnold,
Yes.
but also they mixed it up with a little bit of a slasher type movie, like the guy's hunting you, this and that, and you know you gotta hide and be sneaky. So they did a lot of mixtures there on this, and they made it
Yeah.
look very special. I know they definitely nailed that, especially on there's I don't want to say I don't want to spoil it though, because oh my god, do you know the scene? Okay, I'll say this. You know where the Terminator goes to a certain location where there's a lot of people, and he reminds you of a certain character on T2, dressed as a certain character of T2.
Yes.
You know? Okay, all right. I'm trying to speak in code so you get what I'm trying to say.
That was the
scene.
moment that took me out for a second because of the way he was dressed. But it was like a second, and then I was like, oh, but this is good, you know?
Yeah, but it was a perfect homage for
Yeah.
both films.
Yes.
The way
And
they
then
executed it was
Hollywood
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I ate it all up.
You could see the you know, that they were definitely like it, and it starts off, I'll just say this, it starts off feeling like it was doing the first Terminator, but you could definitely feel then that they were those influences of the second Terminator, and you know, I was like, I see what you're doing there. And it didn't last long for you to, like I said, be like taken aback that, you know, you see the commonalities. They were able to show you and introduce you to this new world without you know, without taking you completely out, like, oh, you know, I've seen this before. It didn't feel like that at all. It felt fun. And
It did.
it we can say what time periods we're dealing with, right? It's 1997 Japan. And I thought that was really interesting that they picked that, you know, that year, and that time period, which is like right
location.
when, and everybody is supposed to be really affected by you know, the events of what happens in 1997, but somehow they were able to play with that beautifully. They were able to tell a nice little story, and the surprises, my goodness, I really like those surprises that they came up with, and they weren't dumb. You know how sometimes a show will surprise you or try to subvert your expectations, but this didn't quite do that. It surprised me in a very nice, beautiful way, where I was like, wow, they're really you know, being creative here. So yeah, without giving away details, I'm just trying to explain some of my feelings about what they did in the show.
No, they nailed it. Like this is what I like, because like I was telling Charles also, Netflix knows what they're doing. They will grab an IP, they'll turn it around, and they will make it flourish. Like Castlevania, for example. I'm a huge Castlevania, like you can tell right there. I got it right there. I'm a huge Castlevania. Oh, you gotta watch. Did you play the games?
No.
You never played the games? Okay. They grabbed that IP, the Castlevania IP, and they didn't go all in with the games, but they grabbed exactly the same thing what they did with Terminator. They grabbed what made Castlevania click onto the Netflix show, and that's why that show was a hit. And now Castlevania Nocturne also a hit. So they definitely know what they're doing in their anime side with these IPs. They're staying to the lore. They're making a few changes here and there, but they're honoring what came before. But also, like I said earlier, newer generations. You get a newer generation that, like for us, that we're the older crowd here, that we played the video games on Nintendo on the Nintendo system, and now you go now to the PlayStation, and you bring these younger people to these IPs. Like somebody who never grew up watching the Terminator, you sit them now, like after watching this, okay, you grab your kid, all right, sit down, we're gonna go watch the Terminator, and then you're gonna put them to see Terminator 2. That's how these IPs flourish and continue during the times.
Yes, we need more infusions like this one. This was a good one, and I hope that they will consider doing a season 2, or we get more content like this where they're kind of reimagining some of the things.
The one thing I hope someday it happens, I hope to God it happens, they do a RoboCop versus the Terminator anime movie. I'm a big fan of that. That's my favorite comic book crossover story. I have all 4 issues and the paperback. I got them.
Wow.
And okay. I'm like, I need to see it. Yeah, we played the video games, but I need to see it. I need to, just like you showed me right now with Zero, put freaking RoboCop there and have him go toe to toe with the Terminator. It would go nuts.
And what I liked about this, well, I won't say, okay, I'm trying to be very, this was when a lot of the ideas that are in Zero is actually some of the ideas I was talking about on that show that I was hosting, where I was talking about possible ideas for the Terminator, where there were possibly multiple computer programs out there that could interact with each other. One of them we were talking about the Matrix and sort of being part of that world, and Blade Runner, and who else did we? Blade Runner, and there was a few others. But in the story that I was kind of developing, I was developing like multiple locations and cities that had been developing AI computers that were designed to do a lot more than just what they were doing. I saw this one movie called The Corbin Project, or Colossus.
What again? I'm sorry.
Colossus, The Corbin Project, and it was done in the 70s, and it's basically like a Skynet story, because we had 2 supercomputers from different parts of the world, and they talk to each other. And once they talk to each other, it's on, and they basically control the world at that point. But it's scary what they are able to do. And so it's one of those things. It's maybe a primal fear that we're going to create a machine that's, that can wipe us out, but also that if you follow robotics, there are multiple people who are all over the world that are designing AI and robots of high sophistication. So there wouldn't just be a Skynet, there would be multiple areas where there were intelligent computers that could talk to, partner with, or maybe even be fight against. They can consider each other threats, and that could be also another piece of conflict. So we were talking about all these really sophisticated ideas that we want to see in Terminator, and that we should, what has been really hurting the franchise, I think, is really trying to revisit this, the same story, but not bringing anything new to it. That's really
no fresh ideas.
Compelling. And one of the other things is that, no fresh ideas, and especially the last one really kind of dismantled everything. They killed John, which they didn't have to, but also they didn't do anything with Sarah, which is like Sarah Connor is really a big part of Terminator, and they kind of made her like this brute kind of character
The Terminator Dark Fate was just a quick cash grab for James Cameron. Like, okay, I'll pay me X amount of money and I'll say, yeah, the movie's great, and boom, whatever. Even Arnold in an interview, he's like, yeah, like whatever, So
yeah, and I thought that they dismantled all the characters. They
they did, yeah.
And the Terminator is no longer scary. He knits. Like, what is going on here? We're just destroying all of these iconic characters. I feel like Terminator Zero brought back the fear of just a plain old regular Terminator. Like, I'm not sure exactly which model he was, but what they can do is pretty scary. And
yeah, he's stalking you. He's stalking you. He's coming for you. His job is to terminate you.
And he can sound like you, or
he can sound like
friend.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best, and we're going to close it off right here. But he said it best. He said the Terminator. He said the Terminator is a machine. Okay. He does not look at himself. He does not look down. He does not look in any way like he's not searching for his target. That's what a robot does. The only time that the Terminator will ever take his eyes off his target is when he's repairing himself. That's it. Okay. Yes. But all times his gaze, his scan is always on his targets. He said what happens after that, the stuff that happened after that, he became a parody. He became a joke. No longer was that real fear that you get from a Terminator when you see a movie like that. So but that's pretty much why I want to keep that story that I'm right. I want to keep it as dark and gritty as I possibly can, because it's time for like that real cinema to come back. So all right. Retro.
Definitely keep it, because you might be able, you'll probably be able to make that movie.
Yeah. Retro, I'd like to thank you for coming on to the Lethal Geeks podcast. We really appreciate your time. Phil, do you have anything to add?
Retro, we got to make a movie.
Yes.
We got to make this a movie. Definitely got to make it a movie. I want to thank you for stopping by. You have an open invitation to come back anytime you want.
Anytime you want to come back.
We're definitely going to be doing a lot more of these. This is episode 5. We're still growing, but every episode we're getting better and better. And we're definitely going to be talking a lot more about other classic movies, So we're definitely going to have you back.
Okay, yes. Well,
All
I
right.
wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me. This is really a lot of fun for me.
Absolutely.
I love talking. I got to talk to you guys online via social media, but this is really very special to be able to do it live like this, and also just in general, talking about movies that we love. It's just something that really touches my heart. So, So thank you for the opportunity and the chance to do that.
You're very welcome. All right, Retro. You have a good night.
What a great interview. That was awesome, Phil.
All right. Thank you.
Good job, guys. That was great. I really I love the spoiler-free review, because I haven't seen Terminator the anime yet, but from what I'm hearing, from what you guys were talking about, it sounds like a phenomenal series. I'm definitely going to check it out. And I'm glad you touched on Terminator versus RoboCop, because I grew up playing that as a 90s child. I grew up playing that on the Super Nintendo. So, and I always thought that would be a phenomenal game for them to bring back and redo with today's technology. And same thing with this anime. Like, from what I was hearing, from the way you guys were making it sounds like it would make a great video game. Like,
actually, you know what? I want to share something with you guys. But yeah, I real quick before we continue on. Shit, what was this guy's name? But hold that thought. Hold that thought.
No worries, no worries. Sin Havoc, that's a fun game. Yeah, dude, it was a phenomenal. I played the crap out of that game growing up, and it's funny because a few years ago when they released those Super Nintendo little classic Super Nintendo, they were just like plug and play systems. You know what I mean? You just plug them in. It had like 12 games built into them. I hacked those and I put like the entire Nintendo library, like Super Nintendo library on there, and RoboCop versus Terminator is a game I still have on there and still play every now and then till this day. So,
dude, it's just a fucking classic, dude. And what I love about it, it's Frank Miller also.
Yeah,
and I love Frank Miller shit.
So like it's cool because like when I heard that they were doing that Ninja Turtles Last Ronin video game, like I think that would be the very same, like right up the same alley for them to do a similar style game. Single player experience where have you ever played Resident Evil? I think it was 2, where you get to play as both characters. Like first you play as the girl and then you play as the guy. Or you can actually choose. You can actually whoever you want to play first.
I know. I'm a fan of the Resident Evil franchise. I played all the games.
That's how I kind of envision like a Terminator versus RoboCop game today, where it's like you go in, you pick which story you want to experience first. You play as either the Terminator first, and then you can go and you can play.
Did you ever play? Shit. Now that I just remember, did you ever play the first Alien versus Predator?
No, I had no. I PC. I never did a lot of PC gaming. I was always a big console gamer. I grew up on console.
You were a console gamer. Well, it did go to console later, but at first I think it was just PC. Sin Havoc, you have? Oh, cool.
Yes.
And I think on that one you could also choose a character. Like you can, because you had 3 characters there. You had the Colonial Marines. You had the aliens, and you had the Predator. So you could select a story from the Predator's perspective, or from the alien, or from the Colonial Marine.
From the Colonial Marine. Okay, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So that I can envision that on the Terminator, on the RoboCop Terminator updated. Like,
it would be such a cool concept, and I think if fans campaign for it, I think they could definitely get something. I mean, they're bringing back so many cool franchises these days too, like retro franchises. Like they released, I think it was like all the '90s Ninja Turtle games on one collection.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So who knows?
The one that they also just released was Castlevania, the Castlevania Dominion collection is called.
Mm-hmm.
So that one has for all you Castlevania fans out there. Order of Ecclesia, Portrait of Ruin, and Dawn of Sorrow.
Okay, see, I've never played those ones. I have one of my favorite Castlevania though is Symphony of the Night. I played that like crazy on the PlayStation 1 back in the day.
Yeah, Symphony of the Night. Yeah, I know. I there's a collection of that one too. So, dude, I lost my shit when the show came out. I lost my shit. Yeah. I lost my shit.
It was so well done too. Like, I remember we watched it on Cartoons and Serial. It was one of the shows that Skywalker was doing on Cartoons and Serial, and it was such a good show.
It was fucking, dude. It was amazing. It was amazing.
It's a Cowabunga package. Yeah, bro. It's great. It's so good. I played the Predator game. I loved it. Yeah, Predator game was good too. Predator Proving Grounds.
Did you play now?
Sorry, go ahead.
No. You will finish.
I was going to say the Predator game, I believe, was done by the same people who did the Friday the 13th game, and the same people.
Not sure.
There's a new game that just came out too. I think it was also done by the exact same developers. Sin Havoc probably knows. He's going to probably shoot me a comment in a couple seconds here and correct me.
Predator Proving Grounds is wicked.
Yeah, that's the online one, and I'm pretty sure it's done by the same people who did the Friday the 13th game. And the Friday the 13th game was phenomenal.
Hunting Grounds. Yeah, I think that's the one, Curly. Rocks.
Predator Hunting Grounds. Yeah, that one's probably it. Sorry. We got the name wrong. Yeah, I think it is Hunting Grounds. But yeah, it's the online one where you can either play as the Predators or you can play as the what's the other team there? The Army dudes. The Army dudes. But yeah.
The Marines.
The Marines, yeah. And no, it's great. It's great. It's like I said, it's in the same it's in the same spirit as the way the Friday the 13th game was done.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy, dude. But so I also want to, before I forget, I want to thank also Retro Nerd Girl for come to the show and shared this great experience with her. I loved her energy, dude. I freaking
No, she
loved
was
her
great. It was
energy.
phenomenal. I was
know?
tuned right in. So the interview turned out great.
Yeah.
And
What do you guys think in the chat? Come out in the chat. What do you guys think of what do you guys think about the retro?
Yeah.
What do you think about Charles' story? Tell us what you guys think about.
Do y'all play Predator Missions and Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Dude, I tried. I fucking tried. I tried. I tried. I can't, dude. Okay, so all you gamers. Okay, so do you know the game?
I know
Rock?
of. I haven't played it though.
Okay, all right, dude. There's this one of this mission where you can go and select the Predator mission, and you go after a predator. Dude, I can't beat that shit. It's impossible.
So it's like a crossover that they did with Ghost Recon.
No, it's a side mission in the game.
Oh, okay.
It's like a side mission, So it's impossible. It's impossible, man. Oh man, great thing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Sin Havoc. Look who's here.
Hey, Josh, how's it going, brother? Ghost Recon.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. Cool.
You know what? I wish I could do more gaming than I actually get to. My kids do all the gaming nowadays. My 4-year-old plays my PS5 more than I do. But it is what it is.
Man. Dude, I haven't played much lately out of boredom, dude, because there's nothing that is hitting me now,
Oh, dude, I got a back burner of games that I got to go through. Like I've got so many games sitting on my shelf that I've got to go through that I haven't just had the time to. Like I'm telling you, man, when you got kids, they consume 99.9% of your.
No, I believe it. I believe it. Imagine right here. There's another one. Sin Havoc. Sam Fisher mission was also that mission. Yeah, I did that one as well. From dude, that's another game. Why they haven't done that yet? Splinter Cell. That is long overdue. Yeah. That game is so long overdue, guys. That would be
you know what game my kids have me playing with them right now? Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know if you've ever heard of Five Nights at Freddy's, but that's what my kids have me playing with them. So they love that kind of stuff. And they love Mario and all that kind of stuff.
It's crazy, dude. No, man, but yeah, I've been playing rehashing a little bit one of the old video games, like the collections, like the retro collections.
Mm-hmm.
Like Contra. Do you ever play Contra?
Yeah, I used to play Contra.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like classic games that they're bundling up now because it's a nostalgia era now. You know
what series I used to love, especially in the arcade back when I was a kid, was Metal Slug. Did you ever play any Metal Slug?
I did play Metal Slug. It's not one of my favorites, but I did play it.
I loved that game. I got a lot of nostalgia for it because when I was a kid, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and I traveled to Italy with my parents, and there was this little ice cream shop down the street from my aunt's house in Italy that we stayed from, and I would go to, and they had the arcade machine there, and I would just spend all afternoon playing Metal Slug in this little Italian gelato shop. It was nostalgia experience.
Five Nights at Freddy's is fun. So
Five Nights it is a fun game. It's a little on the spooky side for kids. I can't believe my 4-year-olds are into it, but it is fun. It's like a first person. I don't know if you know what it is, Phil, but it's like a first person kind of experience where there's like these characters. They're like animatronics, like like a Chuck E. Cheese style animatronics. Okay, and you're stuck in like this. It's hard to explain. You're stuck in this like it's like a Chuck E. Cheese, okay, but it's with all these other characters, and you're trapped in there, and you're trying to escape. And if you get caught by these other characters, it's all like jump scares. So yeah, my kids love it. It's I'll be honest, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Spooky but
Cool.
scary, Kimberly Ann Hart.
Alrighty. So moving on now to our next subject. But yes, shout out now for guys. If you haven't seen the Terminator, go watch it.
No, that's definitely on my list. I'm going to be watching
have
that.
to because I already finished the whole show. Like I was, dude. They
I'm
nailed
actually
it.
excited because I'm on vacation from my work all this upcoming week. I'm going to get my kids ready for school. They're starting school this week. But yeah, while I'm off, I'm definitely going to be checking out that show. You guys convinced me.
All right. So before we move forward, I think we do a little drop here in honor to the 40th anniversary of the Terminator.
Perfect.
All righty. So on to our next topic. But before, we'd figured, we are a man short.
Yeah,
Aren't we, Leo?
we definitely are.
We are a man short. However, we did find someone who could fill in for Charles, and who not better than the one and only.
We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. By the way, who do you think screamed the loudest? The girl or the boy?
Josh Herrera.
That was epic. Shout out to the Lethal Geeks. What's going on, Phil?
Josh?
Good, man. How you doing?
Honored to be on the platform.
Yo, you're decked out. That is a phenomenal costume. I love it.
I had to. I was like,
what a soldier, dude. You are such a good soldier. Good soldier.
Representing. That's great.
I was gonna be there either way, so I was like, might as well take it, right? We got some developments. Zach confirmed at the Rebel Moon director's cut. Actually, someone asked him about the Robin suit, and he said,
"Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
colors." So I was like, "All right, let's go."
Nice,
that's so cool, dude. So tell us about your experience. Like, what was the concert like? Did you have a great time?
Yeah. So for me, like, I know a lot of people have certain opinions about Jared Leto's Joker. For me, I was already a huge fan of the dude through 30 Seconds to Mars. So when he was cast, I was like, holy shit. And I'd known his acting career also. Requiem for a Dream was one of my favorite movies. It's very morbid, not very, it's very niche, I would say. But I loved his performance. And his art, I always get on stage with him. That's just a tradition every time I see him. So I had to do it.
So how did you get on stage? Like what? Like
so it's always a fight. So actually, first time I saw them was 2009. I was front row. It's always fucking rowdy because they kind of, if you think about what made them popular, The Kill. I don't know, y'all know that song. The Kill?
Yeah.
And they were more like kind of screamo, rock, emo a little bit.
Is that early 2000s emo scene, bro? Yeah, I loved it. I grew up on it, so.
So they're going on, I think, like 20 years next fall of their second album, and back then I would just always hop on stage because security was always overwhelmed with the amount of people. Because Jared just always calls everyone up. He's always done that, and I feel bad for people working security. But so the first few times, when they were as popular, it was easier to get to the front, right? Mm-hmm. Then of course nowadays it's kind of like you got to do like VIP to secure your spot in the very front. So I did, of course, but I got a meet and greet, so that was pretty cool.
Well, you got to wear the suit. You got to put on the armor because I'm sure you're swinging in those crowds, right?
Oh, it got rowdy. I don't know. I don't know, Phil. I know you saw some of my stories, Phil, but at one point there's like I was like, oh shit, I forgot I posted this. It's getting a little rowdy in the mosh pit. You know, these two girls are just pushing everyone trying to get to the front, and so we're like, stop! Like you're literally pushing everybody. But it's always worth it. Like it's fucking amazing vibe on all their shows. So yeah, that was a meet and greet that happened before. Really,
that happened before.
So that was before the show. And was that your first time actually meeting Jared, or have you met him? Yeah.
I always felt like him always screaming lyrics of his music to my face while I was on stage. I kind of considered that like I was like, we pretty much met. Spitting in my face, I pretty much. So but yeah, officially that was the first time. And he wasn't actually feeling well. So the VIP package was supposed to come with a photo, right? Very like rushed in, get out, get your photo. And then a museum of their career, basically their whole discography. But something happened logistically with the VIP package, so they could not do that at any of the shows. So they filled it with a Q&A. So we had probably like a 20-minute Q&A with them where they were just talking to the fans, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So how many people were in that exclusive Q&A?
There were two different kinds. So I got like the lesser tier package. There was like 3. So usually you can just get on stage with them because Jared just calls everyone on stage, right? You just have to hop the fence, have the goal, have the testicular fortitude to just hop the rail when security's telling you no. And now, because they're, bigger, more famous, they have a VIP package which guarantees you to get on stage. And I was like, fuck that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to pay. I'm just going to jump the rail.
You're just going to jump. You're just going to jump for it.
So I'd say probably like, maybe like 30 people. Probably like 30 people.
Oh, that's not
okay.
bad.
It's not that bad.
It's a pretty intimate thing. You know what I mean? So can I ask you, what did you get to ask him?
So they actually started, they prefaced, they were like, so Jared is obviously an actor. He does not talk about acting when he's on tour, right? He just doesn't want to talk about it. And it's funny, like the first thing he like came out and he was like, yeah, so I was in Mexico. I was shooting Tron Ares, my back out. And so he kind of was bringing up some stuff, but he was he was different. I've seen Jared so many times and he was just very subdued, quiet. Apparently he was in so much pain. He felt like there was a knife in his back. So it kind of made for a little bit of a, like, at first we were like, ooh, like
he's feeling like that. He was jumping around on stage like the way he was. Eh? Wow.
Yeah. Well, he was basically explaining like he was trying to save his voice because they had gotten sick overseas. They went overseas first to tour and then came to the US. And this is the end of their tour. These last few dates. I think they have 2 more left. So yeah, I guess it's just taking his toll on him. But he, like, if you saw the videos, Phil, he was actually rather tame for his energy level, but he was still rocking out. Like he put on an amazing show. He just didn't.
I would have never known had you had not said anything. He looked like he was having a great time.
Oh yeah, he completely like turned the switch on. But yeah, at the Q&A, he was just very open. Unfortunately, the crowd, I don't think, asked like a lot of great questions. Like they were asking him like, oh, parenting advice, and he's like, you're asking 2 people without kids. We don't know what the hell we're doing. You would probably have gotten a kick out of his demeanor was so like deadpan. He was very much the Joker to me. I was just like, he was like giving such deadpan delivery, and people were laughing. He's like, that's not a joke. But he's a great guy. He's very, there's just a calmness and then like a coolness. Like you can ask him whatever. And some people were asking him like, their favorite music videos they've shot and the favorite location, favorite tour moment. I got to ask him a question. I asked him, the last time I saw them, or no, I'm sorry, I saw them 3 other times before that. In 2018, they were at the same venue that we saw them at. And Jared, during the kill, there was an elevated platform. He always does stunts or something crazy at his shows. So during the kill, which is near the end of the show, a platform went into the air and was like rotating, and he was strapped basically in the middle. Well, the platform got stuck in the air.
Oh, shit.
The power went out back in 2018, and he was kind of freaking out. and the entire crowd just started belting like a cappella the entire lyrics of The Kill.
Oh wow.
And so it was such like his shows, like the reason they're one of my favorite bands is like they truth to be told, their music is not like amazing, but their vibes at their shows.
It's the energy.
Hey, listen, don't kid yourself. They got a couple bangers. Like there's stuff like, man, I used to DJ concerts going back like 6-7 years ago. Now it's been a little while because like I kind of put that part of my life aside once I had kids, right? But I used to DJ concerts, and that dude, when we did rock shows, I dropped The Kill. I used to drop so many tracks from his first few albums, man.
Yeah.
So like, don't kid yourself. 30 Seconds to Mars, they're still a well-known, huge band. Everybody knows Jared Leto. He's a great actor. He's an A-lister. So
And that's what's addicting, like you're saying, Phil, like the energy of the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
He put it all out. Like I got mad respect for I love artists and actually performers, like the art of performing. That's one of my favorite things about attending concerts.
I totally remember. I totally forgot about this. Look, it's in Havoc. He was in Fight Club.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember which character was he in Fight Club.
He's
What was he?
I don't know what his name is.
You're gonna have to pull it up, Phil. Hey, I wanted to ask, did he comment on your costume at all? Did he say anything about it?
So I asked him actually, but as a lead-in, I said, "Oh, so I was here in July 2018 at that show," and he actually, because I told you he was making jokes, right? Such a deadpan delivery, and he was like, "Oh, I remember you," and I was like, "Oh, really?" Everyone started laughing, you know. But I think he was like, "Oh, I'm not joking." He didn't say that, but I kind of was like, "Do you remember me?" I don't know. He might have just been joking with Robin, but he was very philosophical about his answer because he said because I asked him what was going through their heads, and he was like, it was just amazing, actually, the moment that came out of that, where everybody was started singing a cappella, and he was like, there's no mistakes really on tour. There's just magical moments, basically, like that. And so he was just like, oh, and that was the only time that ever happened. So of course it's very memorable. It sticks out. But so yeah, I was just honored to be a part of.
Okay, all right.
So I found it right here.
All right, okay.
His younger days. And then he was also in American Psycho with another band.
Yes, I remember him in American Psycho for sure.
He gets taken out in that timeline a little early. Yeah,
that man definitely beat the Joker in that one.
Oh yeah, tables were turned. And he just shared on his social media, I think it was the anniversary today of Blade Runner 2049. I think
it's today?
I think so. I think that's what he posted. I was reading it briefly.
No shit.
Yeah. People forget he was in that as the villain too. Just very minor.
Yeah, he has quite the portfolio as an actor. That's for sure.
Yeah. But his shows are amazing. Like I really think they're worth the value, and they're going to be back in LA, I think, next year to perform the 20th anniversary of the A Beautiful Lie, the album, the second album. And so they're going to perform it in its entirety at the Hollywood Bowl, I think. That's what he said, probably more than likely. So I was like, oh, got to go back to Cali since everyone's going to Cali these days.
Did you ever see that video that went viral a few months ago of, I think it was one of the drummers from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he was performing The Kill?
Yeah.
That was so well done, eh?
Yeah. Amazing. Like, beautiful.
But yeah, I remember I saw that not too long ago. What was the first thing I did? Go to Spotify, throw on some 30 Seconds to Mars. Yeah.
It works. I mean, he's actually getting really good at he'll do that a lot. I saw him at the Houston show. He did the same thing. A local Houston artist covered The Kill, and he brought him out to perform.
Oh, that's so cool.
They'll do that, every show is different. So I was talking to the girl in front of me in most of my videos, Phil, that you saw. There was like a girl with like big hair.
Yeah.
We were talking the entire time, real cool. She was like, "Oh yeah, this is my 49th show that I've seen them." She's been traveling. She went to all the like Texas shows.
Oh, so she follows them.
like that's the thing. Like there's a lot of people that say like Jared Leto's like cult-like, he is a leader. I will say that the energy he gives out, actually, that's the thing that I love about him, is that you do feel like a sense of just like the music bringing people together. So I get why people are like, oh, this person's dangerous, because he's as a performer, he really inspires people. And people were talking to me in line, like how their music and their lyrics help save their lives through certain situations. Like it really is like deep for some people.
Oh, for sure. Especially for that era of kids that grew up on it. You know, like we were teens when that stuff came out, and you know, a lot of teens, you know, they tend to struggle through those times. So that music hits people on an emotional level. I know I went through that as a kid, so I'm sure many others did as well. I wanted to ask about the venue that you were at. Was that more like a intimate, like nightclub style setting, or was that like an arena?
No, it was actually outdoors. Are you familiar with Formula One? Like,
yep.
So that was actually at our Formula One track. There was actually a Le Mans qualifying race, something going on. So our venue for the meet and greet was outdoors of the racetrack, basically. So it's called the Circuit of the Americas. But the concert venue is located inside the racetrack.
Okay.
So the racetrack surrounds it.
So if I could get an estimate, how many people would you say could attend a concert at that venue?
Oh.
Just so I can get a rough idea how big it was.
It's hard, honestly. It's a hard answer because they have a whole lawn, basically. Like it's like a bowl arena seating, and then there's a back lawn that is just like a few acres, I think, and it's really, it's just massive. It was not at capacity, but yeah, this is not one of their biggest tours either. And I would say the turnout was pretty amazing.
Well, see, because I'm trying to get a gauge in my head, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not too sure how often 30 Seconds of Tomorrow has come to Toronto. But I'm trying to think, if they were to come here, would it be more like an intimate nightclub style show, or would it be like a sellout fucking at the Rogers Center? I don't know if you're familiar with the Rogers Center in Toronto, but that's where the old Sky Dome, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, is like where, like, would it be a venue like that, or would it be more of like because when I DJ'd a lot of concerts, it was more intimate style nightclub, smaller venues. We had like 2,000 people maximum, right? So
yeah, I would say it's not really stadium, like a football stadium size, but I would say it's like a outdoor arena size.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, pretty like that track is actually, or that venue, people don't like to go because it's actually located a little bit outside of Austin, just a little bit of a drive because of the the track surrounding it. And it was unfortunate because the qualifying races were happening and the meet and greet happened, and so Jared couldn't really talk really loud because he was in pain from his back. So every time he spoke, it like sent a sharp pain.
Gotcha.
Back. And so every time, like the entire Q&A, like the cars would come around during an answer, and they would just kind of stop and be like, really? Here we go. Everybody watch. Everybody watch. Here we go. As I was saying. And so like, he's not even trying, but just being hilarious. And of course the crowd was like eating it up. And there was like the demographic was so varied. There was like a child in there, like a few children, teenagers, young people, 30 somethings like me, men, women, elderly. There was like probably like a few 60 and 70-year-olds. Like it was just yeah. And they're
South Cali got more like 50K probably. What's he referring to there? The venue? How big they would sell out? How much they would sell out?
50K.
I don't doubt it. I mean, they're huge. They've got a massive following, right?
Yeah, there were people I met there that were like, not a lot of people were from Austin. There are people from like, they flew in.
Travel out of town. Yeah.
That girl that I was talking about, Phil, she was from San Diego, and she had just flown to Tampa and then to Texas and Mexico.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, for South Cali, we're going to throw a drop for South Cali here.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Classic. Is there a
All right.
with Batman and Terminator? Do you know?
Is it what? I'm sorry.
Is there a crossover with Batman and Terminator comic? Do y'all know?
Not aware of one. There was
Hang
an
on, I gotta look it
animation.
up.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. There was I did see someone do an anime on YouTube a while ago. It was like a fan made RoboCop Batman. I'm sorry, no, Terminator Batman. And it was like Frank Miller style Batman, like old and gruddy.
I think
Green.
that's the first thing that came up when I Google searched it.
Yeah.
Batman enters the apocalyptic world of Terminator.
Nice.
And, also, it's an animated short. Yeah, you're right. It came out a couple years ago.
That's amazing. Because y'all have seen the Alien Predator Batman like mashup trailer, right?
Yeah, I saw that. That was really cool.
That's a classic.
That's what made me go back and watch like Predator and Alien movies.
Have you seen the new one yet?
I haven't. I went to the panel. So usually when I go to a Comic-Con panel, I usually have a rule where I'm like, I have to watch this in theaters. With that, there was just like a lot of craziness. I think it's still around, so I might try to catch it still. Yeah. But I do intend to. I have not caught up yet with. Wait, there's a TV show coming out, right? I think it's not out yet. It's not out yet.
For Alien?
Yeah.
Alien Earth.
Alien Earth, yeah.
And Hulu, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
Awesome.
Nice. Alrighty. So we're gonna throw our final subject of the evening, and it's in regards to I'm like, we have to, guys. We have to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Funeral has to happen.
Because here's the issue.
Why you would throw home when we've got a 2-run lead? You let the tying run get on second, and we lost the lead because of you. Now you start using your head. That's that left that's 3 feet above your ass. Are you crying?
No.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Yep.
I love how you're surprising me with these drops because I haven't seen that one yet for sure. That was the first time.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh man. Anyway, show must go on. What can I say, guys? We're at a point now. It's just, is it even worth it? To like trying to get to these guys' head that the show sucked. That's it. It was a bad show. But they have to mix it up with all the drama and all the it's racism, it's bigotry, and all right, blah blah blah. I mean, it's
the fallback trend. Okay, it's the trend that happens in almost all of these situations where these shows, I'm not going to speak to the Acolyte per se because I haven't seen it. I'll be honest with you. I don't care to see it. That's probably why the show failed, because people like me don't get to see it. But the thing is that when these shows have this reputation, or they get these reputations for pushing certain agendas, okay, you're already off the bat, you're alienating 50% of your fan base. Okay, that's kind of the way I look at it. you're alienating 50% of your fan base, because 50% of your fan base don't want to be preached to. They don't want to be told this or that, or they don't want to, they're not tuning in to your show so that they can get more lecturing. If they wanted lecturing, they could turn on the news. They could turn on reality. You know what I mean? They're trying to disassociate from that kind of stuff. All right. So people don't want to be preached to, in my opinion. So when your show already has this reputation for that, and then when it doesn't do what you expect it to do, and your fallback is to blame the people who, I mean, the way I look at it is like, you know, that by going through with what you're going through and producing this show, you know it's going to alienate those people. So to blame them for the failure doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. You didn't want their money. You made it clear that you didn't want their money. You don't want their viewership. If you wanted their viewership, you would be catering to that audience. And that's not what you guys are doing, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I'm not going to speak to the acolyte per se, but this is a trend. It's a trend in media I've noticed a lot in the last few years, you know? And I'm a person who, like, my politics have shifted a lot. You know, at one point I was very liberal. At another point, I went extremely conservative. Now I'm very much a centrist, because as an adult, I think as a 30-plus-year-old, I tend to try to look at both sides of everybody's situations and come to a common thing. But when it comes to these agendas, that's what's going on. It's an agenda. It's agenda based. They fall back on it because they don't want to take a look at. They don't want to reflect on themselves and what they're doing. It's a lot easier to point the finger at somebody else and say, "No, you guys are the problem. You're the problem," instead of taking a look in the mirror and saying, "Hey, maybe we were the problem. Maybe the way we went about this show was the problem. You know, maybe the way we lectured our audience was the problem. Maybe me going on social media as an actress now and blaming my audience. Maybe that shouldn't have been something I've done to do as a professional." You get where I'm going at with this?
Right.
So there's so many different ways you could look at this, you know, and I think it comes down to a lot of people and a lot of these studios, these actors, these actresses, they got to start having a lot more self-accountability. You know, stop blaming everybody else for your failures. You have to reflect and put the blame where it lies. So that's my thoughts.
Well said. Well said. Josh, what's your take on this little drama?
So apparently, I was catching up on a stream earlier. Did the lead actress, put another video out blaming on the audience RawkTalks or something?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
That's what I was referring to.
Because, like, just as an example of, I think, the lack of hype for the show. Normally, most Star Wars TV shows, like, they create action figures, right? I always, when I'm going to Walmart or Target, if I'm doing any errand, I always pass by the DC multiverse section. I've been looking for a Batman Beyond figure, and
nice
for a few, like about a few weeks now. The Acolyte toys dropped at this Walmart a few weeks ago, probably a month ago actually, and all the main characters, including OSHA, was there, right? So I literally went back today. All of those toys are still there. Normally Star Wars shows, you know, figures, they move fast.
Star Wars usually flies off shelves, right?
Yeah, I think it's the show's quality. I watched it. I struggled through it like everyone, and I was just like, you know, it didn't make me mad. It's just so unfortunate. It just made me. It was just kind of like, really, you had to pull like Yoda into this. You had to pull like Plagueis into this. You had to like, really? And I did. I honestly, there were some redeeming qualities for me. I did appreciate the Stranger, Ezra Miller. I did like that character. I liked Soul. I did like some of the battles. The entire witch thing did intrigue me, but as a fan of, like, you know, Clone Wars and everything, I just wanted a little bit more. I would have preferred if they were like actually like the Night Sisters maybe, or Death Marion. The story
Right.
and the setup for OSHA and May, I never connected to those
I just think, well, I don't think Dave Filoni would have lent to Leslie the Night Sisters.
Yeah, and that's why
That's his baby.
discount. Now that you're saying that, you're probably better, right? That they didn't like kind of play in that sandbox, but it didn't bother me manipulating the Force, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I just did not care about the lead characters.
Yeah.
Can I get your thought on the big controversy that was like breaking the internet a couple of weeks back, or what was it, a few weeks back? The burning fire in space that everybody lost their minds about.
So I guess it's just so like I don't know. It's just like the oversight, right? Like it's just, and I guess there's some people that it doesn't break canon because of what you see, the explosions and stuff and the original trilogy and stuff. I get it, and it just didn't look.
It just looked out of place. Like for me, as like I said, I haven't watched the series, but I definitely saw the drama online, and just that little snippet, what I was seeing on screen for a Star Wars show, it just looked out of place. It looked very.
It's not even that it looked. Oh, it's breaking canon. It just looked bad. I think.
Yeah.
As the actual production, like that's another reason why I was just like, you started to see like how apparently they spent so much money on it, but at the same time, I did feel like there was criticisms about, there's a lot of walking, a lot of talking, a lot of exposition. The show like it just like dragged, in my opinion. I was like, why are we doing this? Wasting characters, the Wookiee, wasting that Wookiee for no reason, cutting apparently all kinds of stuff. The lightsaber whip, okay, cool, but why? To set up for more. I don't know. It's just unfortunate. I did like I said, Soul, Stranger, pretty much it. Carrie-Anne Moss was cool at the beginning until she died.
I heard she didn't have a very large role. I heard it was like in and out type thing. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's in it. I mean, even though what I said, she's still in it, but just not as much as I thought she would be.
But it was a waste. That's the problem. It's such a
that's
waste.
That's kind of like what I've been hearing from a lot of people who've been talking about the show.
Everyone they pushed to the front, I was like, no, these should be side characters, and everyone else from the back should be.
Like, dude, like Carrie-Anne Moss deserved so much better. So much. And
yeah,
it's just, that's one of the things that I hate, dude. Like, it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary.
Especially when you bring in such a great actress like her. It's like, don't waste what you have, So I hear you on that for sure.
100%.
Yeah. So one video I wanted to share with you guys is I saw a video that came out from a commentary from Nerdrotic that the man hits it right where it is. And about the franchises, how these companies they're just not listening to their consumers. So let me share this and get your thoughts on it. Nothing going on?
No, that wheel's just spinning, brother.
Precious few examples of franchises that have lasted decades.
No.
Yeah, that was working. It was. There we go.
Maybe a handful. Okay. And the reason
it's laggy.
His background.
Copyright. All right, never mind. All right. That's not work. Doesn't work. All right. So basically, what he say, dude? Whatever, man. It's fine. But what he's saying is that these studios have killed. They've killed these brands in such a ridiculous way because you had a lot of these franchises that lasted in the times is because it was passed on generations of from ma, pa, whatever, and a lot of these franchises survived, like he said, the dark times, when the studios were like, they didn't do the right thing. They're not staying into the core, but, comic books and fandom and people like you, Josh, that dress up and go to the conventions and keep the fight and keep these brands alive. That's what keeps these brands going on forever. And one of the things that he said on Star Wars is that, the Clone Wars, were, I don't want to say divisive, but there were some disagreements with the Clone Wars. But at the end of the day, it hit with the generation like yours. And, now when you see like the Rebels show, and then you see actual Rebels characters coming into live action like Ahsoka, like oh shit, I lost this other one. Luke Skywalker coming back. So this is the stuff that, you have to be doing. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm trying to get my thoughts correct.
Here's the thing I wanted to add, though, is that, like, do you guys feel like maybe part of the issue, too, is that there's almost an oversaturation now? There's almost a little too much Star Wars, Like, the reason why... Like, I think the original trilogy, what led to their successes, that was the main focus. You had your three stories, and that was that. And they were held to such high regard because for the longest time, like, you had your novels and your fan fiction and all that, but for the longest time, that was what it was, right? And then when I think when was the Phantom Menace released? I'm trying to remember what year was that.
90, I think it was 99.
99. Yeah. So when that came around, it had been so goddamn long, right? And it really did introduce Star Wars to not just one new generation, but multiple new generations, because there was such a large gap, right, of time between those stories and those trilogies and people getting to see it. So I think what's happening now is that aura, that energy that Star Wars, the franchise, had, it's dissipating because there's almost, it's like there's too much. You guys are doing too much. Okay, there's too much.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. Less is more. There's too many Disney Plus shows. Like, if I'm a new person and I'm coming into Star Wars, okay, and I see all this Disney Plus content, I feel overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that discourages me from, consuming the content because I don't know where to begin. I'm afraid that if I start this show, I'm not going to understand what's going on because you guys got 50 other shows that came before. So that's something that I think has kind of been an issue with Star Wars for the last little bit. Whereas when you just had your trilogies, it's like, okay, I could know nothing about Star Wars, but even with the new trilogy that just came out like recently, okay, I could go in, watch the first one, watch the second one, and watch the third one and be done with it, right?
Mm-hmm. So Scientific says right here, the nostalgia of Star Wars is gone.
It's gone. Yes.
It is.
That's how I feel.
So Scientific deserves some love. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
You see this all the time at the level of a top producer who, between them or separately, will make flop after flop after flop after flop. I'm not going to name them, but I know who they are. And they're not all American either. And they still get paid huge sums of money for being in films that nobody wants to see. And producers make pictures out of which they take enormous sums of money. And the films, again, are not films people want to see. They're always going to blame somebody else. Always, not their fault. No, you were the one who said, or whatever. And there's a word for that. It's called upward failure. You see it all the time.
See it all the time.
Yeah.
Flop after flop. All righty. So, guys, we're going to wrap up now. So, final thoughts. Josh, this has been a Terminator weekend. What are your final thoughts?
So I actually have not had a chance to watch, but thanks to you, Phil, like rocks, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Yeah, I love the. I only caught half of the stream, but I love the talk with Retro, the discussion.
Okay.
Shout out to Charles. I really love that. He put so much thought into that story, and yeah, we're gonna see it one day. So I'm really excited to get back into the universe. Rocks, like I was saying in the chat. Same, like when you said besides T2, and I was like, oh, I know, Salvation.
Salvation. I have such a soft spot in my heart for that movie.
Mick G, I think, one-time director of Superman. He almost did one of the Superman movie reboots, I think, before Returns. But he ended up doing that, and like I said, Arnold just made the entire movie for me. I was like, Batman versus Terminator, holy shit, let's go.
And you know what's funny is like that was all CGI, if I remember correctly. That wasn't like Arnold had nothing, he wasn't in the film. That was all CGI. So, and it was great CGI for the time too.
Yeah,
it was so well done.
We've come a long way.
but that's the thing, man. It's like, dude, look at what they were doing back then, and now go watch the stuff that's coming. Like, what is going on?
I think the Scorpion King, or is it Mummy Returns with the Rock?
When the Rock was for the first time, he was the Scorpion King. He showed up.
Yeah,
always like the litmus test of like how far we've come. I think they always like do that as like CGI recap turning point.
I just feel like CGI really peaked in like the mid 2000s. Because like I don't know if you guys saw, we weren't going to talk about this tonight, but I just want to bring it up briefly because we're talking about this CGI stuff. We were going to talk about Twisters tonight, but that kind of came off of our schedule because we knew the show was going to run a little long. But one of the things that I noticed with that film, especially because it's so CGI heavy, is that when I was comparing it to the 90s film, I actually appreciated the 90s film and the CGI in the 90s so much more because it's like this new CGI. It's like it's got this, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's almost like this layer, this fake, it's all like that, just such a fake layer to everything. Yeah. And you didn't get that with the late 90s, early 2000s CGI. They really did a good job of blending it. And I think it was also different techniques that they used to blend with the types of TVs that we had back then that you can't necessarily get away with the high definition TVs that we have now. But yeah, like I'm feeling you with the CGI stuff, brother.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that movie. I was like, I got to go to advanced screening, and I was like, glad I didn't pay for it. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like, of course, the original always.
But I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but it just there's something about the tornadoes that it just doesn't have that same realism that the original movie had. You know?
The climax was just very, I don't know, like it was, it wasn't the same feeling as the original due to the CGI. I don't think at all. So I agree 100%. But yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on your final thoughts, bro. Sorry about that.
No. I'm glad I saw that movie though. I know what you're talking about. I just think as y'all were talking about, everything's just become diluted. I mean, look at DC, what it's becoming. Look at Marvel, how they thankfully Deadpool and Wolverine kind of pulled them out of kind of at a low point right now, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's just our entertainment, right? We're having to fight basically. Show up in concert. A subtle message that I think Jared, he definitely knew what I was, saying. And so he came over to me, fist bumped, and said, "You made it, brother." Because we had met earlier. He's like, "Yeah, brother, you made it." So I was like, yeah, he knew that I was going to be back on stage. Because if he did recognize me, I think he knew that I would be on stage like I was. So yeah, it was just really cool of you guys to invite me on. I loved hearing your discussion with Retro. I'm going to definitely replay from the beginning now because I only caught it in the part 2, I think. But yeah, thanks for making my debut on the channel. I know it's earlier than intended, but
but it was perfect. we wanted to share your story, like with the audience, like that experience. That's just so good soldier. Good soldier.
Come on, how many people get to go on stage with the Joker? Like that is
Like
that
you have what he says, cojones.
Yeah.
You have
Well,
cojones.
you have to, because at the
Big ass bronze cojones.
he was calling people out, and then at one point somebody behind me, a groupie, was like, she's like, everyone just go. And I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. So I just like pushed up into the row and like, and nobody helped me. Like I just like I waited for security because the last show in Austin, I got denied I saw him last year. And the security guard, as I was literally like going up, he was like, no. And he was like, like pushed me back into I was like, okay, but at least I got to be at the front for the last song. So this time I just waited till security was helping somebody else, and then I was just like, whoop, gotta get over. But
you learn from your mistakes, eh?
Yeah. It was just an honor to be on stage with artists like Jared, who just so happens to play the Joker. So it was really cool. And of course, I think #Cell is doing amazing things. So shout out to Sky, Leon, everyone rocking in this community, and shout out to the Lethal Geeks for episode 5.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. And I feel for you about StreamYard. I've been having so many issues with it. So
we're getting it fixed out. You know, every episode we're getting better and better. Today, I think we worked out quite a few kinks from previous issues. So yeah, every episode we're getting better and better, man. We're only going to improve. Our audience, we're hoping, is only going to grow. And and we want to thank you, obviously, for taking the time out today to be here with us, dude. Thank you so much. You're always going to be welcome on this show.
You're a wonder.
Thank you.
You're actually that. There you go. So we got Skywalker is Superman. Leon is Batman.
Yeah. Here's the boy wonder.
Here's the boy wonder.
Thanks for that intro, Phil. That was amazing. I really appreciate that. That was
nice.
Yeah,
no, thank you for coming in the last minute, dude. I appreciate it.
Phil's been putting in the work with those intros, by the way. So
yeah.
Just
so we're definitely gonna have you back, Josh, in the near future, for sure. So last thing we want to do now, if you all remember, we have a little something for you all.
Yeah.
Remember this?
Giveaway.
So coming up.
All right, Leo.
All right. So you got the graphic.
I'm opening it right now.
Okay. So it's very simple, guys. We are going to be making a post with this upcoming graphic that Phil's going to throw up on the screen here. And when you guys see that post, that is going to be made on our X page. Okay. So it's very simple. All you guys have to do is like and share the post. That's all we're asking you to do. Like, share the post. And on November 1st, we are going to randomly select a winner from the list of people who liked and shared the post. November 1st, when that winner is selected, either myself or the official Lethal Geeks page will be getting a hold of you, and we will be making all the proper arrangements to get you your prize.
All right, here it is. Sorry, little tech issue. Nope. There we go.
All right, so we are officially giving away a copy of the Lethal Weapon collection on Blu-ray. Like I said, follow the Lethal Geeks on X and like this post. You guys are going to be seeing this post on the X page for your chance to win a free copy of the Lethal Weapon collection on Blu-ray. A random winner will be selected November 1st, 2024. So there you go, guys.
Epic. Freaking epic.
So you guys know what to do.
That post will be going up right after this stream. And like I said, like, share, and that's all you got to do.
Easy.
Easy peasy, guys. Alrighty. So we're gonna wrap up now. So again, Josh, I want to thank you again for coming by. We'll definitely have you in the future. Everybody in the chat, Rocks, Mr. Leo Getz, Sin Havoc, South Cali guy.
Thank you guys.
Everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Absolutely. All righty. Have a wonderful night, Curly Ray.
Thank you, Curly. Thank you, Sin Havoc. Cell is the way.
Cell is the way. Alrighty.
Hasta la vista, baby.